pass, rolling to his right. They throw it, the in route to Tanner. Steck makes the catch. Steck dives for the pylon. Touchdown!
Up by the Nuggets, and an attack. That'll go for a kill from Anasteer.
Lamar looks for a block, makes a man miss at the 5. End zone touchdown, Swirls. Sets up middle. Jensen for the exclamation point kill.
30, the 20, the 15, the 10, and an 85-yard touchdown run for Landon Olsen.
Ulster Telephone Company and R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is proud to present to you this broadcast on yourliveevent.com.
And a pleasant Good Friday evening. Tonight's game for the Maple River Raiders and the Larimore Polar Bears is simply put a get-right contest, as Maple River is 1-2 on the season after road defeats at Hankinson and Waimea-Lidgerwood the past 2 weeks, while the Polar Bears of Larimore, they're 0-3 with losses against number 1 North Prairie, unbeaten New Rockford, Cheyenne, Maddock, and 4 wins as well. A pleasant Good Friday evening. This is our Irie Insurance pregame show here tonight from Hope, North Dakota. I'm Chase Miller alongside sideline color commentator Nathan Hoots, and Aiden Hannig is going to be helping us out with the camera here this evening. And Hoots, let's chat about the visitors first tonight, the Larimore Polar Bears here in Hope. You could argue again that Larimore has maybe played one of the toughest schedules in all of 9-man football this season. Combined 7-1 are their opponents so far this year, and the Polar Bears were, just like the Raiders, a playoff team a year ago. You're 0-3. It's a non-region game. You played a gauntlet so far, Hoots, from the Larimore side. What's the message going into Game 4 here from the Polar Bear perspective?
I think you tell your kids when you're watching film on Monday, hey guys, I think we might have checked the 3 hardest boxes off the list all year long, and you know what? Week 1 is this week. We forget what happened in the last couple of weeks. Doesn't matter what the results were. We win this week, and good things can happen the rest of the way.
Freshman quarterback Barno Burns is 16 of 47 for $189 with 3 TDs and 3 picks for the Polar Bears. Now to Maple River. After defeating Enderlin a few weeks ago here in the opener, they had to go to the old southeast corner of the state against quality competition with Hankinson and Waimea-Lidgerwood, Money Laws, and stringy Tuga coaches who have been around football for quite some time, and it just wasn't the best in terms of the Raider perspective, falling short in both weeks. They were close games by any means. It wasn't as if they was running time in the second half, Hoots, but same question. What are you looking for from a Maple River here point of view tonight?
I think you look for execution for 4 quarters. They had it for an entire half against Waimea-Lidgerwood until the last 16 seconds of that first half, and they gave up a big play to cut the lead for Maple River from 8 down to 2 right before the half, and things kind of spiraled negatively for them after that. They just couldn't get off the field on defense. And Waimea kind of had the ball pretty much the entire second half, it seemed like. So I think they're going to look for, try to force quick possessions by Larimore, lots of punts tonight, and get the defense back on track this week.
It is a gorgeous night for high school football. The Polar Bears trying to pick up win number 1 on the year, while the Raiders are trying to get to 2-2. The Cannons here again, so there's something to make note of once a touchdown does come out. But at the end of the day, it's almost a picture-perfect kind of night for football. It's not too hot, a little windy, a sunny skies. It's about as gorgeous of a night you could get weather-wise. We're not going to be talking about a lot of wind. We're not going to be talking about a slippery football because of snow and or rain. This is what high school football is all about.
That's exactly right, and it's a coach's dream because the wind is directly, you're either into it or you're against it. There's no crosswind that you got to deal with. So strategy will definitely play a little bit if the wind picks up a bit, but right now it's perfect. No bugs. The sun's about to go down. It's going to be beautiful tonight.
All right, thank you. Who's still to come on our Irie Insurance pregame show. We'll take a look at games going on across the region, and we'll hear from head coach of the Maple River Raiders, that's Larry Fontaine. But when we return after this on our Irie Insurance pregame show, we'll be joined by Larimore coach, that's Cale Triplett. It's the Larimore Polar Bears and the Maple River Raiders for a non-region contest tonight in Hope on yourliveevent.com.
In Hope, North Dakota, we aren't just a town, we're a community, one that you can be proud of, where you and your family can grow. With available jobs, affordable housing, a golf course and pool, the Sportsman Club, and great educational opportunities. There hasn't been a better time to join the Hope community, ideally located between Fargo, Grand Forks, and Jamestown. For more information, go to www.hopend.com. Live, work, and play in Hope, North Dakota.
Dakota Heritage Bank, serving you with 10 locations across North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota, has a strong background in ag and business lending, but they can also help with auto, recreational, personal, or home loans, including home equity lines of credit. Dakota Heritage Bank is a family-owned community bank where decisions are made locally. Our friendly staff greets you with a smile, takes the time to get to know you, and can help you with your banking needs. Visit us online, dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is hiring a full-time play-by-play sports announcer and broadcast sales representative. Duties include selling advertising time for radio, digital, video streaming, and regional cable TV. Play-by-play responsibilities include live play-by-play of local sporting events for radio, video streaming, and regional cable TV broadcasts. Wage plus talent and commission pay structure with full-time benefits package offered. For more information or to apply, email apply@rjbroadcasting.com. That's apply@rjbroadcasting.com.
As we continue on our Irie Insurance pregame show, leading to kickoff here in Hope, North Dakota this evening between the Polar Bears and the Raiders, as we dive into our coaches conversation now. Joining us is Cal Triplett here from Larimore, and looking at the schedule here, Coach. Anytime you go up against a team that has a lot of volume coming back in North Prairie, they were, a top 5 team coming into the season in the preseason polls. New Rockford and Maddox been knocking on the door as well. And 4 wins, they got some quality athletes and standout players. You could argue you probably played one of the toughest schedules the first 3 weeks of the 9-man football season here. I know the record is not necessarily what you want as you're in September now, but what have you seen from your team going up against really a gauntlet to begin the season here, Coach?
Yeah, it is. And, we knew it was going to be that way. We saw most of these teams this summer at our team camp, and, we knew that they had a lot of upperclassmen. I think New Rockford's got like 20-some 11th and 12th graders on their roster. So, that's stuff that we know that that's out of our control. So we just got to do what we can. Going into the North Prairie game, our goal was to get them to switch their defense a little bit against us. Our goal was to get a couple first downs and just put some pressure on them, knowing that, up front, they're gonna dominate most teams. So they're really good up front, and they got some big guys, and they're a well-coached team. So we were able to do that. First quarter, we were able to move the ball a little bit. I have a freshman quarterback who made some pretty cool decisions that I was really impressed with. And, and then last week against Cheyenne New Rockford, we did some good things early in the game. However, we gave up, I think, 3 punt return touchdowns and a pick 6, and things just snowballed like crazy. So it really wasn't like a good offense defense battle. There was a lot of goofy things that happened, and we definitely didn't play our best game by any means. But our motto those first couple weeks is just don't quit. We know that we're up against 2 top 5 teams in the state, and if we quit, you're going to see it on the field, you'll see it on film, and that's when you're embarrassed. And so our kids didn't quit, and I was proud of that. However, there's plenty of stuff that we can get better at, and we got to keep doing that.
As you're reaching about nearly the midway point of the football season here, a kind of a rare this year in 9-man football with 4 regions, a non-region game, how it kind of developed throughout the season with Tri-State not having a football team. You're able to make it work with Coach Fontaine and Maple River. From your point of view, what do you know about Maple River? What will be a challenge here later tonight from your point of view coming up here, Coach?
Yeah, they have a couple really good skill players. Their backfield duo, quarterback, running back is, that's one of the better ones we'll see this year. So, the job doesn't get any easier for us. A run heavy team. Larry's a great coach, and he loves to wishbone and power eye and run right at you. And so that's what we're going to expect. So if our big guys up front aren't ready for that, then it's going to be a long night for us. So we got to stop the run and force them to pass, and then we can hopefully make some plays.
Let's highlight a couple players on your team. Someone taking a look at the stats. Avery Grotna Jr. Has kind of been one of those players for your team here with Avery this season. What has he brought to this year's Polar Bear team?
Yeah, he's a junior captain, and he's a leader on the team. He's a leader in every sport he's in, baseball, basketball, everything. He's one of those kids in our building that no matter what he does, he's right up there with anybody. But he's really taken on just kind of being a little bit more of an emotional leader as well this year, just trying to get the guys riled up, even though maybe we're down. He's a kid that I just have to get the ball to, whether it's running back, wide receiver, whatever we end up doing, we just have to get him the ball, and he can make some plays. So that's what we need to do every week.
And you mentioned your freshman quarterback, Mr. Burns, there for Barron. As a freshman coming in, again, he's going to have plays that he's probably going to wow you. And then I'm sure he's going to have plays where you're like, okay, that's a freshman quarterback, running out of the pocket or seeing something defensively. But at the end of the day, you're growing, you're learning every rep, every week. So what have you seen from your freshman QB so far?
Yeah, Barron is a unique kid. He's I think he probably could be my assistant coach, to be honest. He's that just knowledgeable of sports in general. Great work ethic, super hard worker. He was a kid that we were going to get some reps this year for sure. We had a student that moved away, and so it ended up being his job, and so he's taken it and ran with it. We're excited to have him there because he's a heck of an athlete, and we're just hoping he's going to grow and improve and get better every single year. But yeah, he's had a couple of plays where he's got sacked for -30 and you're shaking your head, but you know what? We're not mad because he's doing more than maybe some other freshmen in that spot would do. And so we're going to take the lumps and hopefully just keep improving with him.
And then someone with Bryson Falk here, an upperclassman, again, a junior. What does he bring to this year's team as well, both on the offensive line standpoint, but also being a guy who plays, at that linebacker spot for you?
Yeah, I mean, Bryson's the guy who's in the middle of our field on offense and defense. He's the center. He starts every play. He's leading every block, calling, he's helping with our pass protections. And on defense, he's the middle backer. He's the guy that we know is going to make the most tackles given the opportunity. And so when he gets on fire and when he's reading defenses or when he's reading offense as well, in that middle linebacker spot, we're more successful, and he's there for a reason. You typically put your best players right in the middle so they can cover the field, and that's where he's at.
Final thing for you, Coach Triplett, before we let you go, 4 quarters of football, what do you want to see from your team here this evening in Hope? Win, lose, or draw? What's one thing that you just want to continue to see the maturation, the growth of this year's Polar Bear team here at after game number 4?
Kind of cliche, but we want to win the first quarter. We feel like Maple River is a team that we can probably do that against. We feel pretty solid against, about just kind of how we match up offensively, defensively. And if we can win that first quarter, that's going to be huge because our last couple of weeks have been really ugly after that first quarter. So,
Coach Triplett, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck here tonight against the Raiders and throughout the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the coverage.
We'll continue on our iRe Insurance pregame show after this here on YourLiveEvent.com.
Hey, growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Triple E Incorporated in Page is cheering on the Raiders as they compete on and off the court and field. They put in the effort to build a team with trust, experience, and the ability to accomplish their goals. The team at Triple E Incorporated is built the same way, with knowledge and experience, with timeliness and efficiency. For your next non-residential building project, go online to eeeinc.com or stop by the office in Page for more information. Make your next project a winner with the team at Triple E Incorporated in Page.
At Enbridge, we believe sustainability is the foundation of our success. How well we perform as a steward of our environment, a safe operator of essential energy infrastructure, a good neighbor, and a diverse employer defines our success. Learn more about Enbridge's environmental, social, and governance commitments and our Indigenous Reconciliation Plan at enbridge.com.
As we continue on our iRe Insurance pregame show, part of our Coach's Corner, joining us now from the Maple River Raiders, that is Larry Fontaine. And Larry, crazy to think it's been a few weeks since you've been in Hope. You went up against Enderling, got a nice victory there to open up the season. And anytime you go to Southeast North Dakota and you go to Hankinson or Wymer-Lidgerwood, traditionally, you're going to get a hard-hitting, physical style of football game. You fall short in those two Region 1 contests. It was a neck-and-neck game with the Warbirds, obviously last week down in Wymer. So, Larry, after the start of the season, obviously I know a 1-2 record is not what you want, but how's everything going from your point of view here, Coach?
Hi, good afternoon, Chase. How are you?
Doing well, Coach. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, you know, realistically, going into the year, we knew we were going to have a tough time with Wymer. And, Hankinson's never easy. They're coached well, and you playing them in Hankinson. And, we thought we could play with them pretty well. And that was a disappointment, I guess, losing that game. The Wymer game, we played really hard. It was 26-20 after the third quarter. We could have been up easily, 36-12. They score with 16 seconds left in the second half. That's something we have to shore up. We've given up 2 late first half touchdowns against Hankinson and against Wymer that are, set the tone for the second half. They didn't help us at all. If they're just mistakes that kids make that haven't played enough. They don't have enough playing time. We got 6 kids that have not really ever played football before, and they're learning how to play the game, and they just make those crucial mistakes at crucial times. Last week, they got third and a mile, and they scored 16 seconds left. It happens. Instead of going in 20-12, it's 20-18. And if we stop and we get the ball back, because it was just kids learning how to play football. We're teaching them how to play football, and they're, we don't have a JV program really, so the only experience they get is on Friday nights, and it's kind of like a shotgun thing. You're thrown right into it, and so. But we're playing hard, and we didn't get any breaks. This year we're getting some tough breaks. And Hankinson, they had a couple plays that, they had a 4th down fake punt, and they got an illegal guy down the field. And I've talked to the coaches afterwards, and they're like, "Yeah, we did. I know you did. I saw it." And then they illegally blocked a kid and took a kid of mine out at the knee. And you don't get to do that when you're 5 yards down the field. You don't get to take them out at the knee. There's some plays there that we didn't get. And last week, not whining. It's just our team we need not to get that happen to us. And last week, Wymer fumbles the ball. First possession in the second half, we would have got the ball in like the 28. Legit fumble. And they didn't see it. I mean, it just sounds like I'm whining, but it's just, little things like that we just don't do that have cost us a couple times. But kids play hard. They're working hard. They're trying their best, and very proud of them. They're young kids. They like football, and they're learning how to play.
You go up against a team that might be in a similar situation, Larry, where Larimore, just like you guys made the playoffs last year, then there's some, like every year, there's seniors that go away. There's new players that have to step up throughout the season. And Larimore, you could argue, has played one of the toughest 9-man schedules in the state, going up against a ranked North Prairie team, going up against a squad that is undefeated in the Rockets, and then a 1-1 squad with 4 wins. I know the scores have been a little lopsided from a polar bear point of view here, Coach Fontaine, but what's going to stand out with the Coach Triplet squad coming into Hope coming up later tonight?
Well, we've watched a lot of tape on them, and I've talked to Coach Keller from North Prairie. They've got a quarterback that scrambles. That's going to give us, a problem. They're young, but yeah, the scores don't indicate how good they are. They're a talented group of kids. Their JV team beat ours. I mean, they've got a talented group of young men. North Prairie and New Rockford, Cheyenne, Maddock are 2 of the best teams in the state. 4 wins is nothing to laugh at. So, I mean, they're going to come in here, they're going to play hard, and we know they're well coached. Coach Triplett's won a state tournament before. He got a title in Richland. He knows how to coach. Coach Jacobson is good. So, I mean, our kids are going to be better prepared, and we're going to come out and play hard, and hopefully we can stay healthy and, come up with a different defense for them. We got to put some pressure on their quarterback. We haven't put any pressure on any quarterbacks yet this year, so we gotta come up with some different packages.
One or two players to talk about here, Larry, before we let you go. Anytime there's a freshman in 9-man football, it doesn't matter where they're at, you got to talk about them. Owen Tickey is particularly for you. I know Nathan Hoots and I were talking about this young man in the first game of the season against Enderlin, how he didn't seem like a freshman at some place, seemed like he was someone who's been in the system for a while. How have you seen his growth and maturation through 3 games this season here, Larry?
Yeah, he has, come a long way as a freshman, having to go against those big guys from Winder. We laughed and we watched. Those are some talented kids, seniors, and he took them on. He played well. I thought he did really well. We ran the ball well against Winder. He pass blocked a lot better. He's getting better every game. The Hankinson is kind of a learning hill for him, but going against big boys in Hankinson too, and kids that have experience. He's just a freshman. He's got a bright future.
And then for Carter Bosch here, you told me again in fall camp before the season started, this kid's going to be special for us this season. He made his notice known, so to speak, in that first game of the season, and he still has a lot of long running touchdowns against the Warbirds and against the Pirates here. What has Carter Bosch done from that first week now as we get to week number 4 of the season here, Larry?
Well, we're going to get him the ball a lot more. We realized against Hankinson that, we switched up our offense a little bit. We got to get him the ball more, because you get him in the open, he's gone. He's one of the quickest kids, I think, in the region. He's got moves that, looks like Jagger out there. He's just moving. Kids, against a very good Wymer team, he had a great game, just leaving kids in the dust. And we needed to get him the ball a little more. We went away from the wishbone and the eye a little bit. Not that we're going to totally go away from it, but we want to get him the ball out in space and then use his speed and use his athletic ability. He needs to work on defense a lot. Hopefully we're going to get a lot better.
Hey, Larry, as always, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck here tonight against the Polar Bears, and we'll talk with you after the game.
Roger that. Thanks, Chase. Have a great day.
That again, head coach of the Maple River Raiders, Larry Fontaine, will continue on our Irie Insurance pregame show after this.
Let's get real. Get ready for a place that's big enough to grow and small enough to care. The University of Minnesota Crookston offers more than 35 majors, minors, and certificates. Earn a University of Minnesota degree, where you can make a difference in a close-knit community. Faculty become friends, and friends feel like family. You don't need a big city, just big dreams. The University of Minnesota Crookston. Real, hands-on, and will get you ready for anything.
Located on the beautiful Goose River in Hillsboro, the Goose River Golf Club offers both recreational and experienced golfers a great round. It's a 9-hole course open to the public, located right off exit 104 on I-29. The Goose River Golf Club in Hillsboro offers annual memberships for singles and families, also college memberships, first-time memberships, and outside 30-mile radius of Hillsboro membership available as well. Men's Day is Wednesday, Ladies' Day is Tuesday. You can learn more about getting on the Goose River Golf Club, GooseRiverGolfClub.com.
As we continue on our Irie Insurance pregame show here tonight from Hope, North Dakota. Irie Insurance, you can go online to IrieInsurance.com to get a free quote. They have the customer service you deserve, and they can cover it all from home, auto, crop, commercial, and benefits insurance. That's IrieInsurance.com to get a free quote. Top 5 games tonight in North Dakota. Unbeaten New Rockford Cheyenne receiving votes at number 1 North Prairie. You have West Hope Newburgh Glenburn going at Surrey tonight. Both teams are 3-0. West Hope Newburgh Glenburn number 5 in the state. And then Linton HMB receiving votes going to Grant County Flasher. Region 1 games, Wymer Lidgerwood at Hankinson. Richland makes their way to Sargent County. You also have Griggs Dakota at Larimore, Litchfield, Marion, and Hatton Northwood is going to go up against the Enderlin Eagles as well. Hoots, what are some other games that you're looking at here tonight?
Give me all of Wymer and then some. They are bitter rivals, and every time they get together, it seems like defense is optional and games are played in the 50s, kind of what 9-man football is meant to be. So, yeah, Warbirds and Pirates is definitely the game of the night, especially in this region, in my opinion. But a lot of good ones when you look across the state, when you got 2 teams that are undefeated playing each other. Should be a lot of fun tonight.
Thank you very much there, Hoots, on that one. And, yeah, some other games going on tonight. A good one here on yourliveevent.com. Unbeaten Shanley at unbeaten Fargo South. A good Class A Region 1 game, Lisbon at Central Cass here this evening as well. A ton of high school football, and we also have Richland at Sargent County. Sargent County's success so far in 9-man football this year, Hoots, does it surprise you that much or not really? Because Eric Olson, their head coach, has been a 9-man coach before, and also, again, they had 10 seniors coming to the roster this year with a ton of varsity experience.
Not surprised at all. As we talked in the pregame before the first game of the year, I said, look out whoever's ranked number 1 at the time because they're coming for you. And, it surprised everyone because Larimore is kind of the brand of 9-man football right now that everybody recognizes. But when they went out and kind of put the whooping on them in the first game of the year, I think that opened some eyes. And I fully expect them to run the table here in their first season of 9-man and then definitely scare some people in the playoffs.
What we have coming up, we'll get to our starting lineups and the opening kick here from Hope. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get ready for the kickoff between the Polar Bears and the Raiders. It's 9-man football tonight in a non-region contest here on yourliveevent.com. That does it for our Irie Insurance pregame show.
Hometown Community Bank serves both the Hope Page and Maple Valley school districts. If you're interested in an egg loan, real estate, consumer, or commercial loan, Hometown Community Bank can serve you. Give DeWine a call at either branch location in Page or Fingal. Ask Janine about the competitive certificates of deposit or money market rates. Hometown Community Bank is a community bank and proud of the communities they serve, and they wish the best of luck to the Maple River Raiders for many years moving forward with the co-op. Hometown Community Bank is a member of the FDIC.
Hope Page Public Schools are committed to the development of all students by providing a high-quality education that is reflective of the strong values in our communities. The staff at Hope Page Public Schools work each day to enable and inspire students to achieve academic excellence and make positive contributions to our world. Learn more about Hope Page Public Schools by visiting hopepage.k12.nd.us. We are Hope Page, and we will change the world.
Farmers, are you expanding, upgrading, or want to automate? Visit with the experienced staff at Hope Electric to learn about the latest electrical systems and the newest technologies that they have developed to make your operation more efficient. Get a custom system in place with features like iPad truck loading and remote view grain storage, touchscreen controls, hazard monitoring systems, and wireless cellular cameras to protect your assets. Hope Electric, serving the agricultural and commercial industry since 1978. Visit hopeelectric.com or call 701-945-2460.
Mother Nature can strike at any time, and Irie Insurance is here to help. Experience the difference with Irie. Get the insurance protection you want with the customer service you deserve.
Home insurance, auto insurance, crop insurance, commercial insurance, benefits insurance.
We have you covered from head to toe, underground to sky. Go to IrieInsurance.com to get a free quote.
As we take a look at the starting lineups first for the visitors on the scoreboard, the Larimore Polar Bears out in their sharp-looking uniforms with the polar bear claw on either side of the helmet, white tops, black bottoms with the orange helmets here as Maple River won the toss and elected to receive as that cannon smoke is making its way across the football field here in Hope. For the Larimore Polar Bears, they'll go like this on the defensive line. Dijon Newell, the sophomore, Hunter Thorvaldson, freshman defensive lineman, and Michael Myers, a defensive lineman, also a senior. Linebackers Dylan Rethemeyer, Lucas Reinhold, and Bryson Falk. Defensive backs of Baron Burns, Avery Gratton, and Tristan Thompson. Larimore 0-3 on the season, head coached by Cal Triplett, averaging 16 points per game, while defensively giving up 56 points per contest. For the Maple River Raiders, when they have the ball offensively, they'll go like this. At a quarterback, T. Silling, the junior at 6'3". Tailback of Carter Bache Jr. at 5'8", with fullback of Connor Dahl, a senior. Your winger is Preston Dowes, the sophomore, and then you'll have a wide receiver tight end combo of Steven Drogan and a tight end of Jonah Thompson. On the line, Owen Tickey, a freshman, and Levi Trader, a senior, and also at a senior and center, Calvin Satchram at 6 foot even and 180 pounds. The Maple River Raiders, under the guidance of Larry Fontaine, 1 win, 2 losses on the season, averaging 25 24 points per contest, while defensively giving up 24.6 points per game. Nathan Hoots, keys to victory here. We heard from Cal Triplett saying they need to win the first quarter. If you can do that, you're going to find yourself in a ball game. He alluded to that on the pregame show, but what are some other keys to victory here tonight from either a Polar Bear or a Raiders side?
Yeah, you know, you kind of look at the size differential. It's pretty significant. The Raiders have gotten a little bigger when you add in Levi Trader in the last couple weeks, but still the size is something that the Raiders are never going to have on someone this year. So it'll be interesting to see Larimore's power game, how that goes against the front 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on what Coach Fontaine decides to play defensively. It should be interesting.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, starting lineups are done, which means the opening kick is next from Hope.
Honesty, loyalty, integrity. At Bank North, we've remained true to these values for generations. They shape the way we do business, work with customers, and support our communities. We've been here for more than a century, helping people grow farms and businesses, finance homes, and pursue their dreams. It's values-based banking, and it's all about working together to strengthen the common threads that bind us together. Bank North, always true.
As we get ready for this contest between the Raiders and the Polar Bears here on YourLiveEvent.com. Again, we have that pole right at the 50-yard line, so that's always going to come into play. But other than that, it'll be fine throughout the day. I'm Chase Miller. He's Nathan Hoots. Also joining us here on the camera tonight, he is Aiden Hannig. As we get this one underway, punting the ball on the tee is Avery Gratton here for the Polar Bears at the 40-yard line. As the opening kick just going to be right after 7 o'clock at 7:01. And it's a onside opportunity here picked up by the Raiders, and Maple River will have it with great starting field position here with Levi Trader. Larimore almost got their hands or their paws on the football with Case Knutson.
You could see he was kind of lining up a little funky when he was waiting for the opening whistle. You want to, they kind of smelt it, and thankfully Levi Trader, I don't think that was the betting favorite to be touching the ball first for the Raiders tonight.
Not at all, but if you're Maple River, you'll take it in positive territory at the Polar Bear, a 40-yard line. As we'll have a shotgun formation, Silling will be in the gun. QB keeper here for Silling breaks the boundary as this will go to the 35-yard line and will roll there as Silling is able to get a healthy first down on our City of Hope, healthy 6 yards on our City of Hope scoreboard.
Certainly an interesting look there from the Polar Bears on the first play of the game. I think 2 down linemen had appeared and a couple stand-up guys a couple yards off the line of scrimmage, so it'll be interesting to see how the front 3 from the Raiders do against the 2 guys down.
Yeah, and again, defensive line here, you're going to have 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 in the secondary here for the Polar Bears. And for Larry Fontaine, we saw a lot of wishbone and I formation. I don't know if we're going to see as much of it tonight like we did a few weeks ago, Hoots.
Yeah, only 2 down linemen, and you're kind of given a 3 or 4-man front depending on if those backers come automatically.
Pistol, little pitch play on the speed option to Bosch to the outside, and Bosch is going to get shoestring tackled. Good-looking play coming in is Bryson Falk on the tackle, as that was able to get right back to a line of scrimmage, but really good pursuit by the Polar Bears to limit that maybe to a half yard, if that.
You know, something you don't typically see in pregame warmups, Larimore was doing just a ton of pursuit drill. And maybe they thought, hey, if we can string out this option play and negate, any outside runs here for the Raiders, things would go well for them, and it certainly did the first play.
So 3rd and short, and we said, well, it's not the wishbone, but it's the broken offset T in terms of the I formation. T Silling under center, fullback trap to Dahl, who stretches for the first down. He had a couple of Polar Bears in on the tackle. Lucas Reinhold, the junior, who does have 1 sack on the season. Dahl gets 3 yards and a first.
I remember that first game of the year when Dahl kept on stretching and stretching for random plays in the middle of the game, and I kind of was like, hey, maybe that's not something we want to be doing here early in the season, but he certainly needed that stretch to get that key first down right there.
1st and 10 here for the Maple River Raiders as they will handle it at the Polar Bear 29-yard line. Larimore, you have Michael Myers, a senior, on Hoots' far side, our near sideline at a edge spot, and also now Lucas Reinhold comes to line with him. Shotgun formation for Silling. Takes a 3-step drop, has all day to throw. Now some pressure coming. T looks across his body, and that one's going to be incomplete. Well covered in the back end by the Polar Bears.
Polar Bears did a nice combination right there, getting pressure while also coverage. They had no safeties over the top, so it's man-to-man across the board. Did a great job of covering everybody up.
Gonna be 2nd down and 10 now here for Coach Fontaine and the Maple River Raiders as we're just over 90 seconds into this contest. And as this game alludes to, as we said earlier in a pregame show for both teams, a get-right contest. If you're both squads, you feel like you can match up evenly here tonight and come away with the victory. Trips to the near side. Connor Dahl on a quick screen bubble. He gets to the edge to the 25 to the 20, and Connor Dahl rumbling his way to the 16-yard line. A little bit of a wrinkle on the offense there, Hoots, and that was actually not even a pass, as that was behind the line of scrimmage, and it'll go for rushing for Connor Dahl.
Connor Dahl isn't exactly built like the guy that you throw a lot of bubble screens to, but he certainly put a punishing hit on the corner there to finish that play off.
13 yards, so 2 rushes now for 17 yards. What are those wrinkles throughout the season that you might not see? How many times do you do that as a coach each particular week?
If you can throw 1 or 2 things in every single week that the other team's got to spend even 5 to 10 minutes on at practice every day, you've won by just having to do that.
T. Silling will be in the backfield with Carter Bosch to his left. Larimore, man-to-man across the board here. This one will come to the near boundary. Silling able to muscle his way outside to about the 12-yard line. So T will get 4 yards on the rush, makes it 2nd down, and so far some pretty good yardage on 1st down, Hoots, to be ahead of the chains here for Maple River.
It's going to be interesting to see all night. If they're only going to go with those 2 down linemen and then put guys lined up essentially at a linebacker, it's going to put the tight ends from the Raiders in conflict. They're going to have to get out to those linebackers while they're coming downhill, which is kind of unusual. Usually you're blocking the guy right in front of you, but they're going to have to go out and get those outside linebackers if they're going to get stuff on the edge.
So far, 1 pass and 5 rushes on this opening drive here for the Maple River Raiders. Play number 7, which started at the Polar Bear 40-yard line. 2nd and medium here for the Raiders. They will need the Polar Bear about 5 for a 1st down. The hole opens up a little bit for Bosch. Going to get tag team down by Reinhold and Bryson Falk, but still it's going to be 3 yards on the rush here for Bosch.
It's going to be a big 3rd and 2 here, but, you know, they don't line up and kick anything, so you got 2 downs to get 2 yards. So I would assume looking at something like a quick fullback dive or some type of a trap to try to get 3-4 right here.
As Hunter Thorvalson, the freshman, will come and add some more poundage, if you will, some more muscle into line, particularly what you were talking about, kind of being that nose guard over the center here as the Raiders will see where they go. 3rd and short for Maple River, as they will come out shotgun formation. Dahl split out to the right, Twin still left. Silling with it, looks across on the post pattern to Dahl, incomplete. And on the coverage is Baron Burns for the Polar Bears, brings up 4th down.
Interesting to see if they can come up with a counter here. There's a ton of space there. The Polar Bear DB on this side is playing inside leverage and still ran that slant against it, which is tough to throw. If they get some type of an in-breaking route and then come back with a double move toward the corner, it probably should be wide open.
I'll see maybe a play action sometimes. Maybe you allow Silling to get on the boundary here, Hoots, on a 4th down. So what would your play call be here?
It's got to be a rollout and give him the option to run it and just make a play as an athlete. In my opinion, coming this way, you have a lot of athleticism coming this way if you can get both Dahl and Bosch on the outside.
See if they go to that counter. Instead, it's going to be Silling, QB keeper, takes it to the 5. He stretches. He has the first regardless as it gets pushed out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. So 6 yards on the rush for Silling.
It's really difficult to block when you can seal that edge with that tight end like they did right there. You know, Drogan did a nice job of taking that end out of the play, and then it just allows all those bodies to get in front and then just get as much as you can.
I called it back in week 1 like the bobsled unit, right? It's like 3-4 guys at the start-finish line, and all that Silling's doing is seeing a hat on a hat and then find the lane to go down the bobsled hoops.
One little seam is all he needs, and you know he's got an attacking downhill mentality this year. Last year was more east-west. This year a lot more north-south, a lot more physical.
Polar Bears defense is making the Maple River Raiders earn it yard by yard so far. They've bent, but they haven't broken yet, but it's 1st and goal at the 3. Fullback trap to Connor Dahl, who gets tackled in open space. Tristan Thomas, the senior, comes in for about a gain of 1.5 yards.
Almost was like a fullback bounce play. He didn't really commit to going right up the middle and just putting his head down like he has so many times this year, and he kind of bounced it right away, so there must have been some type of inside penetration right off the snap.
When I think of bounce, I think of basketball, not football, unless you're really, taking that play. Do you have a play called bounce in your tool chest?
We had a fullback bounce play back where we would trap it and try to run it through like the 3 or 5 hole. It's not something that you run a ton, though.
Polar Bears trying to wall up here while the Raiders are looking for a yard and to hit pay dirt for the first time tonight. Silling under center with Satrom looking for the hard count, and while you had it perfectly, Hoots, was it encroachment or was it an offensive lineman that got the quick
First
drop?
thought is 31 came through a little early, but I don't know if there was any flinch. I didn't have a terribly great view. It was more in the defensive backfield.
If you're the defense, you're going to give about a half a yard. If you're the offense, that would be 5 large yards, as we'll have our first penalty of the game, and this will go up against the Polar Bears. So you take it from about what, Hoots, the 1 to about the half-yard line?
I think the guy moved it about 9 inches. So I think it's got to be quarterback sneak territory.
Well, we'll call it 1 penalty for 1 yard. That's not a bad average.
Yeah, no, if you can average 1 yard per penalty, you're doing pretty good.
Well, now all of a sudden they're going to spread it out here. Twins both left and right. Polar Bears with 5 men in the box, one-on-one everywhere else. Silling. QB keeper looks for a man, and he goes nowhere. Really good job getting it blown up the middle. Bryson Falk was there, but Hunter Thorvalson really, Hoots, put the edge and allowed Bryson Falk to make an open field tackle, and actually Silling loses a yard.
He almost got to the quarterback before the ball did. That was very impressive by their defensive line, which now puts them a little bit of a bind here. Are you going back under center and running power? Are you going to go back to the play that T got on the outside? On that big 4th down, you got a lot of space coming this way. Bosch and space go together nicely.
There's been good on both sides. Again, defense for Larimore, they've made Maple River earn it, but if you're the Raiders, you've done enough to be knocking at the door here. 3rd and goal, ball spotted at the 2, nearly 5 minutes gone in this first quarter. They fake it to Dahl, they give it to Bosch, who's into the end zone. Touchdown, Maple River.
It's a nice crease that they created in that 4-hole right there. That was very well done. They took advantage of the Polar Bears getting really good A-gap pressure and kind of ran it right through the B-gap.
4 minutes, 55 seconds goes off our City of Hope scoreboard. As for the Maple River Raiders, they take the lead. And that's a long developing play sometimes too there, Hoots. What did you see down there, though, to open up the hole enough for Bosch?
They had a great double team right on 78 there, created just a big enough seam right there. And Bosch just found the tiniest little crease is all he needs, and he had plenty to go through.
So it'll be another broken I formation here, as this one will come across with Bosch dotting the I. Silling gonna roll right-hand side, comes across his body. This one will be, oh, what a catch by Drogan! Drogan with the one-handed catch. How did he do that? Tiptoes the end line. Silling rolled out one way, had to throw back across his body. Might have been a broken play. Regardless, it ends up with a 2-point conversion. On our City of Hope scoreboard, Maple River leads it by 8.
Maple Valley Parents is a nonprofit organization whose main purpose is to promote, encourage, and support the Maple Valley students, teachers, and staff. MVP strives to strengthen and enhance the educational and social environment of the Maple Valley School District by providing opportunities for students, teachers, and parents to learn, socialize, communicate, and grow together. MVP Group welcomes anyone to join them in their mission. If you'd like to get involved or see upcoming events, check out the Maple Valley Parents Facebook page.
The Maple Valley School District is moving forward with the plan to build a new pre-K classroom, community fitness center, and gymnasium with locker rooms. The classroom will provide more space for a growing pre-K program. The fitness center will provide opportunities to benefit all Maple Valley communities, and the gym will allow more opportunities for all activities of the Maple River Co-op. Plus, the plan is to build with no new taxes. Contact the business manager to see how you can help make this a reality today at 701-749-2570.
As we're back here on YourLiveEvent.com, the 2-point conversion, those are always big in any game in high school football. And Hoots didn't have too much room to work with there. Silling had to put it right on the screws, and he did there to Drogan.
Yeah, Drogan was wide open immediately, and I was kind of upset that he didn't see him, and then realized that I think the play was a design to kind of throw back a roll out to the right and then throw it back. I don't know if Fontaine wanted it to be off his back foot and thrown to the back corner, but the combination of a throw that not many quarterbacks can make to go along with Drogan making a heck of a play there.
Calvin Satchram with an end-over-end kick that goes to the Polar Bear 36-yard line. Just diving on that ball is Andrew Trosen here, the freshman, doing a good job and really good starting field position here for the Polar Bears. So the Polar Bears will come up with a freshman quarterback here, as it'll be in Baron Burns, and this guy is a little slippery. I know they played a very tough, difficult schedule, but this is someone to keep your eyes on throughout this football game. As the Polar Bears will come out in a shotgun formation. Burns, handoff. This will go to Newell. Newell's going to get popped for about a yard or so. Coming in on the tackle is going to be Dahl, was one of many there for the Raiders in pursuit.
Coached a bit of football in my life and watched a lot of football. That is not a formation that you see terribly often, with the wing off to the side and kind of a, I don't know, a halfback, if you want to call him that, probably lined up behind the tight end. That was an interesting formation there, but good pursuit by the Raiders to begin.
Yeah, wing T in the shotgun kind of reminds me of what Fargo Davies used to run back in 11-man football, where they maybe had one wide receiver and everybody else was really tight on the line. Same formation, right back to it here. Avery Groton, motion man. Newell trying to set it up to the near sideline. This one is going to be incomplete. Connor Dahl got his mitt on that one, as the intended wide receiver here was a tight end, Dylan Rettenmeyer. I thought Maple River did a good job not looking in the backfield with the eye candy there, Hoots.
Kind of seems like we have similar defensive philosophies here to begin. You're going to bring as much pressure as possible and play man-to-man across the back end and hope to get to the quarterback before the quarterback can find somebody open.
Center is Bryson Falk. Your guards of Hunter Thorvalson and Michael Myers, and your other lineman is Wyatt Stromberg. Dylan Rethenmeyer is your tight end, with receiver of Grattan, running backs of Newell and Reinhold, and Baron Burns again is your quarterback. Third down and a long 9. Newell gets it, and he's going nowhere. A bear hug by Levi Trader brings it for a tackle for a loss.
Trader did a really nice job. His lineman left. He got right in his hip pocket and followed him, took him right to the running back. Well done by that D lineman.
On our City of Hope scoreboard, you can work and play in Hope, North Dakota. From job listings and housing options, go to hopeND.com. Maple River has an 8-0 lead over the Larimore Polar Bears. So Larimore, with their sophomore running back, had a couple of cracks at it, and then their freshman, again quarterback, able to make a really good throw, just better coverage by Connor Dahl. So a 3-and-out opportunity here as the Raiders kind of making a prevent safe punt coverage, as it looks to be potentially too many men on the field.
I say we either have too many guys in the backfield or too many guys on the field.
So they'll say a legal substitution here for the Polar Bears by the time they broke the huddle. Be a 5-yard loss, and that'll be the second penalty for the Polar Bears.
Bit of an interesting punt formation, though. The punter's at about 7 or 8 yards, not the typical 11, 12, 13 that you usually see.
Tristan Thomas is that aforementioned punter. Carter Bosch stands back at his about own 35-yard line here for the Maple River Raiders.
And have to make sure he gets his ball up in the air in a hurry.
Clean snap. This one does get up in the air. Carter Bosch will see this roll in front of him, and then he just hops on it at about the 40-yard line. So a punt of nearly 30 yards will give the Raiders their second possession of the game at their own 40-yard line. What you like about the Maple River defense there, Hoots, forcing that 3-and-out?
Just a ton of pressure. They brought it on all 3 plays, and they just kind of sold out to get there as quickly as possible to put a freshman quarterback, in chaos immediately. You want those young guys that don't have many varsity reps to have to make decisions before they're ready. If you let them sit back there, you threw some nice balls in warm-up, you don't want them to have that time to make those throws.
As Maple River will come out here, shotgun formation, 2 wide receivers, both left and right. Silling, we'll see Carter Bosch go from his right to his left. Silling takes the drop, looks down the middle. That one's going to be incomplete, and we'll have a flag on the play.
Definitely pass interference. It was tough for the line judge on this side to make that call because it came from his inside hip, but definitely a good call there. He got in early.
If it's going to be pass interference, it looked like Avery Grant was one of those defensive backs that was in on the coverage. And we'll see what the penalty is going to be on, as it looks as if Hoots, you had it right on the money, and it is going to be pass interference. So this will go on the Polar Bears, and just like that, Maple River is back in Polar Bear territory.
Coach Fontaine is setting up Connor Dahl here for a beautiful post corner. It's going to be wide open coming here sometime soon.
As they will come out, shotgun formation. 8-yard line, just the third possession combined of the game, as we have nearly gone about 7.5 minutes. Raiders, second down upcoming. Speed option play. Silling trying to get to the boundary. Bosch has to try to go block someone. Silling makes not one but two men miss and finally stretches to about the 40-yard line, but it's going to be a loss of a yard. And kind of Carter Bosch there, Hoots, at some point as a running back, you almost have to say, okay, I'm not going to go get the ball, I'm going to hit someone, and that just took a little bit too far along for Silling to either make the pitch or wait for a block. And again, give credit to the Polar Bears pursuit right there, really good defense.
Yeah, when you run the ball to the short side and you do a good job as a defensive end and outside linebacker stringing it out, you don't have a whole lot of time to make a decision as a quarterback, and it's better to just eat it, take it yourself, see what you can get.
Starting to see when the lights will come on here, and hope starting to get a little dark out there as this one is coming across the way. Third down upcoming for Maple River. Ball spotted at the Polar Bear 41. They will need the 35 for the first, right in front of us here on the press box. And we'll have a delay of game on Maple River. That's a tough 5 yards and a tough pill to swallow if you're Coach Larry Fontaine. But on the opposite side here, if you're Coach Triplett for the Polar Bears, hey, you don't give up 4 or 5 yards here, Hoots. You might have to force the Raiders to punt, and hey, you got a chance to tie this game up on your second possession from a Larimore perspective.
It'll be fun to see if this is 4-down territory. I mean, a lot of coaches sit down at the beginning of the year and decide, hey, when we're on a certain yard line, it's 4-down territory no matter what. So if you see a conservative play to get them 4 or 5 yards here, expect them to go for it. Otherwise, they might try to, get a big chunk play to get that first down, avoid having to punt.
Connor Dahl will split out to the right. Drogan will split out to the near sideline or the left. Shotgun formation. We'll see if the Polar Bears bring pressure. They do. They bring forward. Silling right-hand side. Stiff arms the man. He's still loose at the 50-yard line. And then Silling muscles his way to about the 41. But Bryson Falk came in unevaded and had a chance to blow up the play for a big loss. Instead, Silling somehow got 4 to about 5 yards on the play. So Silling will make it 6 carries for 9 yards and brings up 4th down upcoming here in decision time for Coach Larry Fontaine. High school football tonight here on YourLiveEvent.com from Hope, North Dakota, as the Raiders will come out 4th down here, and they will elect to go for it. Kind of a Maryland I formation for a second there in the backfield as they will come to a tight spot. Silling gives it to Bosch, and Bosch is going to get stuck for a tackle for a loss. That's a 4-yard tackle for a loss. Coming in is Avery Gratton there on the defensive play. And that's minus 4 yards here for Bosch. 4 carries now for 2 yards and a turnover on downs, and the Polar Bears will have great starting field position. So Larimore here will handle the football at the 45-yard line. Just over 3 minutes to play on our City of Hope scoreboard, and the Polar Bears have a chance to tie this puppy up on this particular drive. As they will come out now. Bryson Falk, the center. Tight formation in this shotgun for Baron Burns. Burns, handoff. Newell dances his way to about midfield before he's met and tackled there. And on the tackle, going to be Stephen Drogan, but we do have a flag at about the 46-yard line. This would be encroachment, or maybe not too many men on the line where that one particular is. Seen the penalty come out a couple times, once so far for Maple River and 3 times so far for the Polar Bears. So we'll have sideline interference on Maple River, and this will take the yards plus the penalty. So give Newell the yards, 3 carries for now 3 yards, and then add another 15 to that with Maple River. 2 for 20 is now it's going to be a first down upcoming for the Polar Bears with their best starting field position of the night. And then on top of that, they get right into Maple River territory. So first down and 10 for Larimore. Ball spotted at the Maple River nearly 35-yard line. Shotgun formation. Baron Burns. Little end around as this is going for about 2 yards on the play. Tristan Thomas, the running back, as Thomas is able to get a handful of yards. And that was one where, again, they fake the pitch to Newell going one way, and they bring Thomas almost from that wingback spot coming the other way, and seeing if you're that defensive end or that backside linebacker, if you bite on the fake, and they're opening up for a little bit of a hole and some daylight. And good job by the Raiders staying home, but for the Polar Bears, they get a couple of yards, bring up 2nd down and 8. Come out again, shotgun formation. Play action, looking down the field. This one going to Rethemeier for the catch. Or did he complete the catch? The ball came out, but they're going to say he completed the catch at the 18-yard line. That'll be for 16 yards.
Chase, we're in for a bit of a treat here with the way these quarterbacks are throwing the ball. T hit that Steven Drogan on that 2-point conversion in the corner and couldn't have thrown it any better, and that throw right there by Burns was about as good as you're going to see on a corner route.
Yeah, that was really nice and well covered, too. Like, again, he didn't have a lot of real estate to miss on that ball, and he hit him. So 1st down upcoming for the Polar Bears here as we're under 2 minutes in our opening quarter on our City of Hope scoreboard. Shotgun formation for Burns. High snap, Burns rolls right-hand side, passes. This one's going to be into the end zone, or is it down at about the 1?
He got him just short, yep.
Just short, so they get about another 16-yard pass, and, well, guess who again? Rethemeier.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job of rolling away from Silling's side to avoid his pressure. He came unblocked on that play, but if he's got to go 15 yards in less than 2 seconds, it's not going to happen.
Polar Bears knocking on the door here, trying to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie this puppy up late in the 1st quarter. Shotgun formation, Baron Burns is going to be in the gun. Handoff, dancing his way, trying to get in the end zone is Newell, and he's in. Dejan, the sophomore, with his first rushing touchdown of the season, and the Polar Bears are back within 2.
It's kind of a polar opposite there of their first possession. They went right down the field, threw a couple real nice balls, and power football to get it in the end zone.
So 4 carries now for 5 yards and a touchdown. On our City of Hope scoreboard, the Polar Bears with a chance to tie. So just like that, after a turnover on downs, the Polar Bears waste very little time, just about over 90 seconds to get in the end zone, going 55 yards. This is going to be a live ball, and the 2-point conversion fails, but the Larimore Polar Bears strike on our City of Hope scoreboard, down by 2 here on your liveevent.com.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
I'm Darian Bitts. I'm confident on and off the field. And when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
I'm Doug Gray. I'm confident during the performance and when it's time for college. I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
As we come back here, a good-looking drive to begin the contest for the Polar Bears after the turnover on downs, as they will put the ball on the tee here. And kicking this one off now for the Polar Bears. And this one is going to be Dylan Rethemeier, so he'll put the ball on the tee. They went for the onside kick the first time. They didn't get it. We'll see if they try it again. They will. Short kick right to a Raider. It's loose, and it looks like the Polar Bears got it. The Polar Bears are scrumming it away, and that's Lucas Reinhold who picks it up. We mentioned the very first time they went for an onside, they nearly got it. This one was 1 blue jersey and Owen Ticky and about 4 white jerseys. And well, when you get in a scrum, it's about numbers, and the Polar Bears had the numbers.
The front line guys are told to attack those short kicks because you don't want it to get to that 10-yard mark and just try to fall on it, and he kind of waited and hesitated. And that's, it's a freshman right there. Hasn't had a whole lot of experience of balls coming at him there on that front line.
I think Larimore is saying, hey, we don't want to kick it to Bosch. We'll gladly do this and see if we can maybe get the ball back. They've done it once, so it's now twice. That's not just well, let's try it once to see if it works. I think that's going to be a developing theme throughout the night for the Polar Bears.
If it's going to be a 50-50 proposition to get the ball back, it's worth 20 yards of possible yardage.
Handoff Newell. He's going to get met right at the line, as that'll go for about no yards. In on the tackle was Preston Dowse.
That was a good attack there, downhill from those linebackers. They didn't have that on that last possession. That's a good start.
So for the Larimore Polar Bears, what can you do? This is like, again, in basketball, a game of runs. This is exactly what it is from a Polar Bear perspective. Defense, you get a turnover on downs. You waste very little time moving the ball down the field to score a touchdown, and then you get an onside kick, and you're at midfield.
If this is basketball, you're taking a timeout here if you're the Raiders, but at least you get 40 seconds in between each one.
And now it's going to be a broken play. Burns rolls near sideline. He's at the 50. Jukes makes a man miss. He's right underneath us here at the press box. That'll be for about 2 to 3 yards. I always love this view because I will look at where our camera looks like, and it's going pretty much straight north to south, downhill of where we are, and you could see Burns' weaving ability there for 2 yards.
To get 2 yards out of what it looked like was possibly going to be a turnover on the snap, that's something. Making something out of nothing is really important, avoiding negative plays.
Contest that started a half hour ago here on YourLiveEvent.com. It'll be shotgun formation for Baron Burns. Newell, he has the first down and some. Close. It'll look like, I thought the first was at the 45. It's at the 40 regardless. A lane open up there for about 4 yards.
We've had a lot of really key plays here in this first quarter early on, and this could be one of them. Now they're going to have to snap it one more time because he went out of bounds. But, yeah, this is going to be a big play here to end the first quarter.
It's one of those, again, where if you're Coach Triplett, do you punt and play field position, or do you say, hey, let's go for it?
I'm going to take a chance and say they're going to go for it. If you're willing to onside kick it twice in the first quarter, you're probably going for it on the 44.
And also watch the heart count here if you're the Raiders. 5 yards is going to be awfully close if you got a freebie. Burns, handoff. Let's go Newell. Newell breaks the tackle. He's going to be close. He needed the 40. He might be at the 40 and a half. So it'll be about 4 yards there on the play. But for the Raider defense, they stand and hold, and they get a turnover on downs.
You could argue that might be one of the biggest stops of the year thus far for this defense. We've had some games with slightly bigger spreads. So a big fourth down stop in a 2-point game in the first quarter is important to see how they play out this first quarter. If they just run something conservative and make an adjustment here in the quarter break, or go for broke.
Maple River has started at the plus 40-yard line, their own 40, and now they're on about 41-yard line here for the Raiders. 32.7 seconds left here in the quarter. I formation. Bosch dots the I. Silling trying to get to the boundary here. We have a flag coming out, and that might be declined. Where the flag is typically is holding or potentially illegal use of the hands, but getting to the outside was Silling. That's going to be about an 8-yard loss.
Yeah, it's definitely something. If you're looking at a holding at a, are you going 1st and 20 or 2nd and 16? You're certainly taking that down.
Let's see. The penalty is on.
Declining it.
So that'll be a really good play. And so far for the Polar Bears, Hoots, their sideline defense has been on point here tonight.
Their pursuit is absolutely fantastic thus far. They're doing a great job of avoiding the blockers in open field, and then, more often than not, if they're missing, they're forcing Silling to juke back inside, back into the teeth of the defense, which is forcing him not to get a whole lot of positive yardage.
2nd down and nearly 20 here for the Raiders, as they will come out here, potentially the final play of quarter number 1. Silling under center, looking to get the free 5 yards, and he does. So they get 5 yards back for Maple River.
Thankfully, both times for the Raiders, that each time they've had a flinch on the offensive line, it's been caused and drawn by those Polar Bear defensive linemen coming a little early.
4 penalties for 26 yards for the Polar Bears right now. That might be a developing theme, something that Coach Triplett will not like as this game continues.
Don't have to run a play here if you don't like the look you get.
See if Silling tries to get him to come offset. Nope, they don't. He'll roll. Looking for a man down the field. Drogan, that's going to be incomplete. As on our City of Hope scoreboard after 1 quarter play, it's the Raiders 8, the Polar Bears 6 here on YourLiveEvent.com.
This is Chris Brecken from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to our growers. Your trust and fellowship is the driving force behind our dedication to your successful farming operation. We continue to invest in the education of our team to ensure your customer experience is outstanding. Thank you for the opportunity to be your planter experts. Stop by either of our locations in Hillsboro or Drayton, North Dakota, or visit planterdoc.com.
The 2023 R&J Sports Fall Sports Guide is now available in digital format. You can view the 2023 Fall Sports Guide online and on mobile by visiting rnjbroadcasting.com and clicking on the Sports Guide link. View schedules, coaches' bios, and see plenty of photos and tidbits to get ready for the fall sports seasons. The R&J Sports Fall Sports Guide is now online and available at rnjbroadcasting.com.
It's cleaner with Gleaner. Gleaner Combines from Ziegler Ag Equipment, Highway 9 North Ada. Have you been seeing the demonstrations of these Gleaner Combines? Check with Chuck O'Neill for details at Ziegler Ag Equipment. New trade-ins at Ziegler Ag Equipment, 31-foot Borgo, chisel plow with 3-bar harrow, just in S205 Melrose Bobcat, local trade, 1,580 hours. Talk with Chuck O'Neill for pricing and more information. Ziegler Ag Equipment, Highway 9 North Ada, 218-784-2961.
Back here to start this second quarter on our City of Hope scoreboard on yourliveevent.com. The Raiders have it 3rd down and long. They will give it to Bosch, who lost it off his right knee, tries to bump back on the ball, and I think he was able to do so and somehow maybe get a yard or two as it went into the breadbasket, if you will. That's when the ball came out, and it hit the right knee. And fortunately for Bosch, he was able to come back with the football.
Yeah, that was certainly fortunate, but, you know, when you're handing it off to a first-year running back, sometimes those exchanges can be a little dicey, to say the least, and I think that one just didn't quite, hit his hands a little funky. Couldn't see it from here, but it's definitely got to be cleaned up here as we get back into region play after this week.
Maple River and Larimore with 3 possessions each right now as the Raiders come on, and it looks as if they will come on and punt this football away as Santrum is back. Connor Dull is the long snapper. Thomas returning here for the Raiders. A nice high end-over-end kick. We'll see what kind of bounce it takes. We'll take a Raider bounce to the 35-yard line, so a punt of 25 to flip the field a little bit here, but the Polar Bears defense now gets the ball right back in the hands of their offense with a chance to take their first lead tonight.
They certainly have made some nice adjustments since that elongated first drive by the Raiders, so it's nice to see coaching adjustments and stuff that gets the game moving at a nice clip, which is hopefully something will keep happening right here.
The Polar Bears 0-3 on this season. Maple River at 1-2 after tonight. The Polar Bears will host Nelson County next Friday, while on the opposite side for the Raiders, they will have homecoming against Griggs Dakota. For the Polar Bears here, they'll have to come out quickly and get to the line now with Burns. Twins to the near sideline shotgun formation. Setting up the screenplay. This will go outside. Oh, what a pop by Connor Dahl. Dylan Rethenmeyer went down, and give credit to what Connor Dahl was able to do. Hoots reading the play the entire way.
Yeah, that was very well played. They had 2 running backs kind of swing it out into the flats here, and thankfully they had the right one covered.
So far, Rethenmeyer, all 3 catches for 31 yards. Came in 2 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. He'll add on to that category here. 2nd down and long. Rethenmeyer just a sophomore here. He mentioned Baron Burns, a freshman, Lucas Reinhold, a junior. You have Newell, a sophomore, Grattan, a junior. That's just not even your line play, who's just 1 senior on it this season for the Polar Bears. Looking for that reverse counter play. Tristan able to get a couple of yards. Carter Bosch did a good job staying home for about gain 3 here for Thomas.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous play if you're a defensive, you're a D lineman, you're a D back, you're a linebacker, any level of the defense. If you get flown in the wrong direction and then get that counter coming back across, especially if you play man, those things can really cause problems.
And so far, Hoots, this kind of feels as if 2 teams maybe not so much looking into the mirror at one another, but similar in terms of skill set and a little bit different style of scheme, but still how you want to go attack a team.
Absolutely. I think we're in for a dandy tonight.
As this will be third down upcoming here for the Polar Bears. Rolling right-hand side is going to be Burns. Gets the ball away and almost picked off by Dahl. The intended receiver was Rethenmeyer. Dahl looked up and it went through the wickets of his breadbasket at about the 48.
I think it might have caught him off guard how much he got underthrown. Every ball that he's thrown thus far has kind of been on the money, so missing him by that much was a bit of a surprise to the Raiders defense.
So a punt coming up for Larimore. So far they've had a punt, touchdown, downs, and a punt here for the Polar Bears as Thomas goes back to his 30, Bosch to his own 35. High snap, able to get this one off, though, on a line drive boot to Bosch at the 31. Bosch looks for a block now in space of the 40. Bosch to the 45-yard line, and the punter, Thomas, takes him down. And losing a left shoe is Bosch, and he will come back, get that one back on. And how about the play of Thomas? If he doesn't make that one, Bosch could be still running for a while.
I think he certainly would have, especially anytime you have a line drive kick, you just panic because your guys aren't down there in coverage to slow them down and move them in any direction that you want them to. Thankfully, shoestring tackle for the Polar Bears.
Still to come on our halftime show. We'll take a look at the first half numbers, your out-of-town scoreboard, and more. That's all coming up at the half, and get Hoots' thoughts on the opening 24 minutes. I formation for Silling under center. Hands it off to Bosch. Picks up a block. 45. Bosch makes a tackle. 50 into Polar Bear territory. 40. Look out. Bosch to the 30. 25. 20. Bosch to the 15. To the 10. Bosch to the 5. Loses the football. It's free, and Bosch picks it back up, and they call it into the end zone for a touchdown for Carter Bosch that goes 55 yards. Bosch 6 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown, his second score of the game. And Hoots, it was close on the goal line there when Bosch picked that one up.
Apparently his left shoe's just fine, which is good to see. Play at the end there, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that where he gets run down and forces a fumble, grabs his own fumble, goes right back in. That's impressive.
It's still a one-possession game, so a large two-point conversion upcoming here for the Raiders. They get it. They get up by 2 possessions. They don't. Larimore would have a chance again to get the ball, go down, and tie when they get the ball on offense. Shotgun formation, Silling. QB keeper looks for a block, and he walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders. With 9:04 left in the first half, Maple River leads it by 10 on yourliveevent.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in North Dakota. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the NDHSAA and the North Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
In Hope, North Dakota, we aren't just a town, we're a community, one that you can be proud of, where you and your family can grow. With available jobs, affordable housing, a golf course and pool, the Sportsman Club, and great educational opportunities. There hasn't been a better time to join the Hope community, ideally located between Fargo, Grand Forks, and Jamestown. For more information, go to www.hopend.com. Live, work, and play in Hope, North Dakota.
Hoots tonight, Nathan Hoots on the sidelines, Chase Miller with you here up in the booth. Also, we have Aiden Hannig running the camera here this evening. But I was talking with Hoots a little bit off here saying, what can you do in high school football? Can you fumble the ball and allow you to return it? Speaking of return here for the Polar Bears, they get to the outside as this one keeps moving about to the 40 to about the 43-yard line here for the Polar Bears.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think the only thing in the NFL, they have it under 2 minutes, I think, where you can, the fumbler can be the only one that can advance it after a fumble. Otherwise, it's a dead ball as soon as any other offensive player recovers it. But there's no rule like that I'm aware of, at least in high school.
Jacob Harris, the freshman there for the Polar Bears, with a really nice return, able to get it to about the 42-yard line for a first down here for the Polar Bears. Larimore will get the ball to start the second half as well, so a large last 9 minutes of this first half to see who can kind of take momentum and a little bit of control. Shotgun formation. Newell to the right here at Burns, and we got a timeout. This might be our first timeout to try to delay a game, and we'll take one as well. Cal Triplet takes a timeout on our City of Hope scoreboard. Back after this in Hope.
Dakota Heritage Bank, serving you with 10 locations across North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota, has a strong background in ag and business lending, but they can also help with auto, recreational, personal, or home loans, including home equity lines of credit. Dakota Heritage Bank is a family-owned community bank where decisions are made locally. Our friendly staff greets you with a smile, takes the time to get to know you, and can help you with your banking needs. Visit us online, dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Back here on YourLiveEvent.com. Those are always tough ones, Hoots, from a coach's perspective. You never want to burn a timeout when you get the ball back to start the possession, but at the same time, too, if you're Coach Triplet, it's just your first one of the half, and you don't want to lose 5 yards right off the bat.
Yeah, and they had two guys moving in motion right away, and they both got reset, but obviously someone didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. It's probably worth a timeout not to waste a play.
Baron Burns will go back to that shotgun again. Wing T formation here. Handoff. Newell looking for a little bit of a lane. Had one for a moment, but coming in on the tackle is Connor Dull. Good news, bad news. Good news, linebackers are flying for Fontaine. If you're bad news, though, from a Raider point of view, we're starting to see the running backs a little bit, Hoots, have some daylight and some creases to run through.
Yeah, that's kind of been their most successful play, just kind of off tackle there with the out of the shotgun. Haven't seen them go back to those two corner patterns that have gotten them, a 16-yard gain and 20-plus on the other one. So something like that might be in the future right here.
Oh, Larry Fontaine was saying they were going to play a 5-man front against this kind of style of offense and see what the Polar Bears could do with it. Polar Bears will hand it off. Newell trying to break to the outside. Silling, though, wraps him up for a tackle of a 1-yard loss.
Really good pursuit, both by Silling and as well as the linebackers that were flying downhill. They're kind of selling out. If their guy moves, they're going with them, and that makes them susceptible to some type of a counter or a double move. But right now, if they're going to continue to run the ball, they're going to have good results.
Now it brings up 3rd down and long here for the Polar Bears. They have 2 timeouts remaining. For the Maple River Raiders, they have 3 timeouts remaining. Again, Maple River received to open up the game. So for the Polar Bears, looking to at least get the 1st down to keep it away from Maple River for another chance or 2 in this first half. Thomas to the near sideline, but with this defense, there's going to be one-on-one opportunities for a guy like Thomas. Burns has some time. There it goes to Thomas right at the numbers at the 40 and make it at the 39-yard line. In on the tackle is Steven Drogan. But again, Hoots, with Coach Fontaine, and he's done this for many years. He likes to provide pressure, bring his guys on an island. But a really nice throw by the freshman Burns to the aforementioned senior in Thomas.
Yeah, the pressure didn't quite get there. And Larimore's got to be a little careful. That running back comes in motion. He's got to be set for a complete second before he takes off. If they don't do that and get called for an illegal shift here, that could be backbreaking, especially in, they're not getting too many yards per play right now.
Thomas for about 20 yards on that particular play, and he threw that one on a pretty good rope as well. Again, been very impressed with Burns so far at the QB spot, just a freshman. He winds and delivers again, looking for Thomas at the 15-yard line. Incomplete. Drogan in on the coverage.
That was very good coverage there when you have no help. That is fantastic coverage there by Drogan.
So far for Burns through the air, 4 of 7 for 51 yards rushing. Newell, 9 carries for 14 yards with a TD. Thomas, 2 for 5, and Burns, 1 for 2. So early on, if you look at the stats, again, the lanes are opening up, but Maple River's doing a good job tackling. But I think the best advantage for Larimore right now, Hoots, is having Burns chuck the pigskin around a little bit here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Silling come to the right-hand side of the quarterback, because they seem to be running away from him all game long and neutralizing him a bit. Might be something to look into here in the second half.
As Newell dances his way for 5 yards, in on the tackle is going to be Bosch, and alongside for the Raiders, you also had Calvin Satrum. 5 yards there, and as we alluded to earlier on this drive, the lanes are starting to open up a little bit here. The Polar Bear front is starting to move some guys around.
And there we go, Silling on his right-hand side in a passing type of situation, maybe force some time of pass that's got to go over the top of his big, long arms.
About 6 minutes left to play here in the first half. Newell handoff. This one will go across. He spins his way to the 31-yard line. Silling in on the tackle, also within Dylan Zahn, but it makes up 4th down and very manageable.
This will be an interesting 4th and 2 big play here, only 5 or so minutes to go in the half. Give the Raiders, well, I guess actually not that great a field position considering where they've started in this game, but could definitely flip the game.
Baron Burns will have Thomas flank out to the left-hand side. Lucas Reinhold is the wingback right now with Burns again in the backfield. Snap is going to be free, it's going to be loose, and it's going to be, well, regardless, it's going to be a fumble or a turnover on downs. It'll be a fumble recovered by Silling, and the Raiders get 5 yards. Just an inadvertent snap blew up the play, and the Raiders defense holds.
Yeah, they've only had a couple bad ones. It's been pretty consistent thus far with how young they've been, but, just unfortunately some tension and some pressure in those type of situations can cause those little mistakes.
Now if you're Maple River, this is a chance to kind of throw a punch, if you will. And not to say it's the KO version punch, Hoots, but if you can get a touchdown here and put this up by 3 scores, the Polar Bears are very much in this game, but that could be a little bit more to claw back from, if you will, in the second half.
Certainly would knock them down on the mat, that's for sure.
5:31 left. Ball will be at the 37-yard line. Now it's going to be on the turf here, picked up by the Polar Bears when Larimore says, well, forget about that. Let's get the ball right back. Picked up here by the Polar Bears, as that's going to be Bryson Falk who has the fumble recovery all the way back to the 24-yard line of Maple River.
Hate to place blame on any type of a fumble, but the way that Bosch tried to receive that handoff, that's definitely not the way that it's taught. But when you're young, you haven't taken a whole lot of reps. You just want to get the ball in your hands as quick as possible. You got to work on getting arms instead of hands.
So a fumble for a fumble, and now all of a sudden if you're Maple River, you're saying, hey, let's get the ball back, and Coach Fontaine wants to take a quick timeout. We'll break as well with them. A ton of possessions here in the first half. We'll tell you about it next on your live event.
R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is hiring a full-time play-by-play sports announcer and broadcast sales representative. Duties include selling advertising time for radio, digital, video streaming, and regional cable TV. Play-by-play responsibilities include live play-by-play of local sporting events for radio, video streaming, and regional cable TV broadcasts. Wage plus talent and commission pay structure with full-time benefits package offered. For more information or to apply, email apply@rjbroadcasting.com. That's apply@rjbroadcasting.com.
So far in this first half, there's been 11 possessions, Hoots, 5 by Maple River, 6 by Larimore, and if this continues, there's going to be ample opportunities in the second half if this style of play continues. And again, not to put what we were saying earlier, if Larimore doesn't get in for 6, they're still very much in that game, but if Bosch doesn't fumble that ball, Maple River really has a chance to control the rest of the game if they could put 6 up on the board.
Take a couple minutes off the clock here, punch one in, hold them, get the ball at half. That'd be quite the turnaround.
And now it's Fumble City, if you will, into the back, as this would be 7 yards all the way into the back here for Burns. So he's able to pounce on the football, but again, it'll be second down and now long here for Larimore.
You wonder how many meaningful snaps they've taken in these first 3 games. As the center had many tense snaps, big positions in the game that, caused them to, maybe tense up a little bit. I think we might be seeing that right now.
Yeah, from a Polar Bear perspective, lost by 30-4, wins 74-24 against North Prairie with the loss, and 53-12 their last time out against New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock. This will be that counter play. Here goes Thomas, makes a man miss, 25-20, and he's bringing Raiders with him. About 10 yards on the rush here, and that counter has been there a couple times as Thomas is now going to be on the field. 3 carries for Thomas for 15 yards. We'll take a quick break as they take a look here at Tristan on your liveevent.com.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Triple E Incorporated in Page is cheering on the Raiders as they compete on and off the court and field. They put in the effort to build a team with trust, experience, and the ability to accomplish their goals. The team at Triple E Incorporated is built the same way, with knowledge and experience, with timeliness and efficiency. For your next non-residential building project, go online to eeeinc.com or stop by the office in Page for more information. Make your next project a winner with the team at Triple E Incorporated in Page.
Back here on yourliveevent.com, Larimore will handle the ball after a good about 10-yard rush with Thomas. And just hope for Tristan that as he's coming off this sideline, that this isn't any more of just a little hiccup, if you want. He can get back into the game later here this evening, and long term that, this doesn't impact him for a couple farther games. But to the game at hand right now, Hoots, third down, Polar Bears knocking on the door here against this Raiders defense.
And likely 4-down territory. We did see him attempting some extra point distance field goals in the first, in the pregame, but I'm guessing they probably got to get inside the 10 if they're going to look at any of that. So looking at 2 downs to get 7 yards here.
Update for you, New Rockford Cheyenne 15, North Prairie 8. Midway through the second quarter of play, Polar Bears will come out here third down. They will need the Raider about 14 for the first. Play action, Burns to the boundary, has a man, Reinhold open, 10, Reinhold to the 5, looking like Mike Allstott out there wearing that 44 number as he bulldozes his way for 15 yards.
The Polar Bears are doing a really nice job of when they're throwing any passes, they're really flooding zones and trying to overnumber them. They're sending more guys out than the Raiders are able to defend. Some guys open, and their freshman quarterback's doing a nice job of finding the guy that's open, taking what they give him.
As you said, Hoots, it's like they said, everyone go for a stream down the field or a deep post pattern, and we're just going to bring someone just coming across, and boom, no defense was there. So first and goal for the Polar Bears, trying to make it a one-possession game. Newell cuts back inside, and he's going to get wrapped up. I've been liking what the Raiders have been doing in terms of the tackling, and that's Preston Downs, the sophomore, gets the hit.
Downs has been impressive. He's really been playing, like I said, he's been a downhill attacker. He hasn't been, had a whole lot of responsibilities in coverage thus far, but anytime they're running at him, he's certainly getting in the mix at least. He's a nice combination with him and Silling on that one side.
For Maple River, they have 2 timeouts remaining, the same for the Polar Bears here, but if you're Larimore, you don't have to be in any hurry again, because if you can waste some more time, put it in the end zone, you'll get the ball to start that second half. Ball's going to be just south of the 5-yard line. As Burns walks up to the field, they got to get it off before the delay of game. They do. High snap. Burns needs to roll. Goes to the near sideline looking for Reinhold. Reinhold trying to stretch in the end zone. Is he in? He is. Touchdown, Polar Bears. Really good job by Burns extending the play. Finds Reinhold in the boundary, who breaks a tackle and stretches in the end zone for Larimore.
Another well-designed play. You wait and patient. You rolled him out against his body. You don't typically see young quarterbacks rolling opposite of their throwing arm and then just hit that fullback in the flat once again.
So in the second quarter here, the Polar Bears with a 2-point conversion opportunity. Second time that Larimore has found the end zone. The difference in this game so far has been the 2-point conversions, however. As for Maple River, they've been able to get the 2-point twice. Larimore, this is their second crack at it. Shotgun for Burns with Newell lining up to the left-hand side. Rolling right-hand side, broken play, backyard football now for Burns. Picks up a block. This will go to the 10, to the 5, and Burns then tries to throw it into the end zone. You can't do that. And we had a big hit with Connor Dahl. That might have been an illegal block in the back potential kind of hit there on the scramble.
Yeah, it's an illegal crackback block. You cannot make a block when facing the opposite end zone. You cannot do that. That was a great call from this official on this side to be able to see that play.
And I've been liking what the Polar Bears have been doing, by the way. The tight ends is kind of the name of the game right now in that passing attack. 5-yard touchdown. We'll see what happens here. But if it's against the Polar Bears again, if you're Coach Fontaine, you're just going to decline it, take it into the kickoff, and try to get the ball back. That's exactly what's going to happen. So on our City of Hope scoreboard, you do have a new score. Maple River up by 4. Will the Polar Bears kick another onside kick? We'll find out when we return after the flip side of the break.
At Enbridge, we believe sustainability is the foundation of our success. How well we perform as a steward of our environment, a safe operator of essential energy infrastructure, a good neighbor, and a diverse employer defines our success. Learn more about Enbridge's environmental, social, and governance commitments and our Indigenous Reconciliation Plan at enbridge.com.
Back here on yourliveevent.com, work and play in Hope, North Dakota, from housing options to opportunities to continue to get your next job along the way as well. They got it all in Hope, North Dakota. Go to hopeND.com. That again is hopeND.com. For the Polar Bears, that drive started at the 5:27 mark as it was at the Maple River positive territory. It took a couple minutes off the clock. They scored a touchdown, and just like this, it's a one-possession game. And again, onside kick, question mark?
Exclamation point.
We'll see what happens here. The Raiders with 4 guys at the 50 if you're Larimore, and they put a couple of really good ones across the way on here by Rethenmeyer. This one will be a kick that'll go right to Jonah, and he just goes down right away. That was one in the air. The other 2 were like ground balls to third where you're looking for a bounce, and a little bit easier there for the Raiders.
And you got a head high hop. That's exactly what you want for any type of, they put the tight end right there. So the guy's got maybe a little bit better hands than your offensive lineman. Did a nice job of catching it, securing it, going straight down to the ground. Now they got a chance to score here with 2.5 to go.
Ball at midfield. If you're the Raiders, 2 timeouts. See what you can do here with Connor Dahl to the left of Silling. And we'll get a timeout. Coach Triplett doesn't like what he sees defensively, particularly with Bosch on the boundary and Jonah Thompson here. We'll keep it here with 2:51 left to play in this first half. What is the message right now? It's obviously from a Larimore point of view, you just want to keep them out of the end zone. Even if you don't get the ball back here in the first half, you at least just want to keep them out of the end zone. If you're the Raiders, how aggressive are you on first and second down to start off this drive?
I think you're running something that you love to run early. That Silling quarterback rollout sweep, the bobsled play as you call it. Run that here to the wide side the first play, see if you can get 7-8 yards. Don't put something in the air on first down. Just you don't want to stop the clock. And you don't want to take the chance that it's going to be some type of a pick. Just run something a little conservative, something that you feel confident in right away, and then take a chance. Now, if you're Larimore, it is tackle the man in bounds. Do whatever you can to keep the guy in bounds. Don't be a hero and try to make a pick. Get to the half down 16-12.
At 1 minute left to go in the first half, Hankinson and Weimar-Lidgerwood tied at 6, and Sargent County blanking Richland 42-0 at the half. First down and 10 for Maple River, and we'll get a false start. This will be on Connor Dahl. It's going to be a tough one from the Raider point of view just because, again, it's the Achilles heel in drives. The old yellow hanky comes out, and especially after a Polar Bear timeout.
Yeah, jumping and having to then, make a play call from behind the sticks. You don't design your offense for 1st and 15. You design it for 1st and 10. But, the aggression that Coach Fontaine has had, you're probably thinking they, probably have 4 downs to get these 15 yards. That's something that they certainly can manage.
First half is taking now just over an hour of play here as the sun has set in and made its way, and the lights are in full effect on this Friday night. Gorgeous night for high school football in Hope, North Dakota. Raiders up by 4 with the rock. Silling gets to the boundary, looks for a block, gets to the numbers at the 50. That might be close to a horse collar tackle. It was awfully close with his right hand. The official's going to come out here, and you have the head official almost having his yellow flag out, and I don't think they're going to call anything on it, but regardless, Silling able to get 5.
It certainly is interesting. You don't see the white hat running around with the flag in his hand terribly often. They're saying that he got it inside the shoulder pad rather than in the collar area.
We had a bird's eye view, and it's about as close as you can get. If there was a nameplate above the numbers, that's where that hand was, Hoots, and it's about as close as you can get with, I think, out-calling the penalty.
Typically, you see officials call it rather than not just in the name of safety, but it is what it is.
First time tonight that we've truly seen the wishbone here, as this will come out with Bosch. And, well, for the Polar Bears, they do a good job stuffing it. Michael Myers in on the tackle, and Lucas Reinhold as well.
Yeah, now we got a decision here. 3rd and 9, minute 48. You got your 2 timeouts. But how conservative are you? You're running the ball and getting to halftime and take a little bit of a chance here and trust that your defense is going to be able to hold these guys.
7 carries, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns for Bosch. And as we alluded to, if you run the ball here, you can take it down under 60 seconds and then force Larimore to either want to call a timeout or not before you would have to punt. And also, if you get 7 yards, and you really put Larry Fontaine in a probably going for it situation on a 4th down.
Yep.
Polar Bear fans chanting defense. Here goes Silling on the boundary play, looking for that bobsled line in front of him. Gets to the boundary and a really good-looking tackle on the outside. Bryson Falk covering some coverage, as that will stop the clock because going out of bounds there was Silling, and that's for a gain of 4.
Besides a pick, that's about worst-case scenario for the Raiders, where you don't get the first down, plus you stop the clock. Now, if you have the guts to go for it here, then it's just fine. You got 4th and 5. At least you gain 5 yards, give yourself a chance. We're going to use a timeout here to see if we can draw something up. Maybe that 2-point conversion play.
We'll keep it here, taking a look at some other scores, again, across the region here tonight in the state of North Dakota. Just on the 9-man football side, number 2 New Salem Almont leads after 1 half of play over Napoleon Gackle Streeter, 22-6. Out west with 1 minute left in the first half, number 5 West Hope Newburgh Glenburn, 32-0 over Surrey. New Rockford Cheyenne over North Prairie with 3 minutes left to play in the second. 15-14 Rockets make it New Rockford Cheyenne Maddox. Can't forget about them this season in that co-op. Also, 1 minute left to play in the second. Hatton Northwood over Enderlin, 20-14. Hankinson and Wymer Lidgerwood currently tied at 6 late in the first half of play. And Grant County Flasher over the Lytton HMB Lions, 20-14. Any scorers surprise you there, Nathan, on the quick 9-man rundown?
Yeah, that the Wymer and Hankinson game only having 6 apiece right before half is certainly interesting with all the firepower they have.
4th down and 5 for the Raiders. They will need the 40 for the first. Silling looking to pass, has a man, that's Drogan, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Raiders! 4th and 5 goes 45 yards, and the Raiders hit pay dirt, and the cannons of firing here in Hope.
That was a great throw off of his back foot, and that was as soon as the ball was snapped. The coaches over here for the Raiders were saying he was wide open, so they knew they had him dead to rights as soon as it was snapped.
2 completions to Drogan for 52 yards and a touchdown. Circle that as possibly your RDK Enterprises play of the game on a 4th and 5. That could have been a turnover on downs. Instead, goes to a 45-yard touchdown, and the Raiders are up by 2 scores. Wing T formation, Bosch looking to get in, and a really heady tackle by Bryson Falk, who's flying around. 2-point conversion's no good, but the Raiders score. A new score on our City of Hope scoreboard. Maple River leads it by 10.
Let's get real. Get ready for a place that's big enough to grow and small enough to care. The University of Minnesota Crookston offers more than 35 majors, minors, and certificates. Earn a University of Minnesota degree, where you can make a difference in a close-knit community. Faculty become friends, and friends feel like family. You don't need a big city, just big dreams. The University of Minnesota Crookston. Real, hands-on, and will get you ready for anything.
Located on the beautiful Goose River in Hillsboro, the Goose River Golf Club offers both recreational and experienced golfers a great round. It's a 9-hole course open to the public, located right off exit 104 on I-29. The Goose River Golf Club in Hillsboro offers annual memberships for singles and families, also college memberships, first-time memberships, and outside 30-mile radius of Hillsboro membership available as well. Men's Day is Wednesday, Ladies' Day is Tuesday. You can learn more about getting on the Goose River Golf Club, GooseRiverGolfClub.com.
Back on YourLiveEvent.com, Maple River 22, Larimore 12. And, well, a kickoff here for the Maple River Raiders as Maple River with 2:51 on the clock go down the field, 50 yards, the 45 yards, and 1 shot on a 4th down at Drogan. Putting this one on the tee is going to be Calvin Satchram. End-over-end short kick that goes to about the 32-yard line. Polar Bears will handle it nearly at the 45. On the return is Reed Grattan here, the freshman for the Polar Bears. So if you're Larimore, you got 1 timeout, you got the ball to start the half, and with how your freshman QB is chucking it, I'm expecting a very aggressive play call here on 1st and 10.
Absolutely, yep. You didn't drive all the way down here to take a knee and go into half. You come here, you got to go for a score here and try to double up after the halftime.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Polar Bears. Make sure you stay tuned to our halftime show. as we'll take a look at some of the numbers, but also our post-game show. We'll hear from the winning coach, our Enderbridge Energy player of the game, and more once we get there a little bit later on tonight here in Hope. Shotgun formation for Burns. Silling trying to tackle him for a sack. Burns evades it. Now at the 40-yard line looking downfield. He's going to run to the 50 and right underneath us here. A really good-looking backyard-style football playing by Burns, because that was dead on the rights for Silling, and Burns, kind of like Jake the Snake, the old Denver Bronco days, able to make something out of nothing.
You're positive he's a freshman? You checked? Double-checked?
Double-checked.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play. Not only did he get away from one of the best pass rushers that we've seen this year in T. Silling, but he then made a heady play, not throwing it stupidly down the field, and just got out of bounds, saved a timeout. That was a fantastic play.
Larry Fontaine wants to use his second timeout as the clock was already stopped already with 41 seconds. The old adage is you'll hear this in college and at times professional sports when you have someone like a Burns that is able to run. You want to keep them in the pocket. But in 9-man football, I'm not saying there isn't a pocket. There's just a lot more space in 11-man hoots. So if you're someone like Silling, it almost goes back to basketball where you're chopping your feet, closing out on a shooter. Is that the message now, or moving to the half? If you're someone that's going on Burns, let him make the first move, so to speak.
If he's going to scramble, it's got to be inside. You cannot get deeper than the quarterback if you're an outside rusher, whether you're an outside linebacker coming or you're a defensive end like either of the ends that the Raiders have. You have got to make him go back inside. As soon as you get deeper in the quarterback, it's toast, and that's what's going to happen the whole second half if they don't make that adjustment.
First down and 10 for the Larimore Polar Bears right now. Clock stopped at 41 seconds. They still have a timeout remaining, and it stops if they get out of bounds or get a first. Baron Burns right now has looked awfully well. Silling chasing him down, trying to keep him. Burns going all the way back to his own 20-yard line. Now the 15 and throws it out of bounds. That is going to have to be an intentional grounding. But the intentional grounding, Hoots, is probably better than losing 40 to 45 yards.
Well, it's a spot penalty.
Okay, true that.
So it's going to be.
So now all of a sudden,
get my steps in here, going all the way back.
If you go from where the ball was at the 46 to a spot penalty at the 16, that's going to be over nearly 40 yards on a change. It'll be second and a country mile upcoming here for Larimore.
That was one of the more interesting plays. I apologize for what I said on the previous play. That was not what you're looking for, but I think he realized at the very end there was no positive that was going to come from being chased for 40 yards by Mr. Silling there.
So you go 34 with 16, that's the 50, so that's a 38-yard penalty here for the Polar Bears. So 5 for now 64 here for the Polar Bears. Well, now all of a sudden, the script flips a little bit. Second down.
You're definitely running the ball here.
Maple River has one timeout remaining. That's it. And I wouldn't be surprised if, as you said there, Hoots, maybe a knee or just something conservative. There's the knee. Coach Fontaine with just one timeout won't take it, and that should end the first half of play. Well, you don't see it too often, but Burns has been so dynamic back there where you just kind of say, all right, you allow him to do it. But that time with how Silling again didn't make the first move and allow Burns to keep going backwards, kind of played it about as good as he could there, I thought.
He did exactly what we talked about, what you said there. He broke down. He forced him to go continually toward the sideline away from the boundary, which is exactly what he was supposed to do the first time. He just settled his feet down and made a great play that second time.
As we'll take it to a break at the half here, Maple River leads by 10 on your liveevent.com.
Hometown Community Bank serves both the Hope Page and Maple Valley School Districts. If you're interested in an egg loan, real estate, consumer, or commercial loan, Hometown Community Bank can serve you. Give Dwight a call at either branch location in Page or Fingal. Ask Janine about the competitive certificates of deposit or money market rates. Hometown Community Bank is a community bank and proud of the communities they serve, and they wish the best of luck to the Maple River Raiders for many years moving forward with the co-op. Hometown Community Bank is a member of the FDIC.
Hope Page Public Schools are committed to the development of all students by providing a high-quality education that is reflective of the strong values in our communities. The staff at Hope Page Public Schools work each day to enable and inspire students to achieve academic excellence and make positive contributions to our world. Learn more about Hope Page Public Schools by visiting hopepage.k12.nd.us. We are Hope Page, and we will change the world.
Farmers, are you expanding, upgrading, or want to automate? Visit with the experienced staff at Hope Electric to learn about the latest electrical systems and the newest technologies that they have developed to make your operation more efficient. Get a custom system in place with features like iPad truck loading and remote view grain storage, touchscreen controls, hazard monitoring systems, and wireless cellular cameras to protect your assets. Hope Electric, serving the agricultural and commercial industry since 1978. Visit hopeelectric.com or call 701-945-2460.
Mother Nature can strike at any time, and Irie Insurance is here to help. Experience the difference with Irie. Get the insurance protection you want with the customer service you deserve.
Home insurance, auto insurance, crop insurance, commercial insurance, benefits insurance.
We have you covered from head to toe, underground to sky. Go to IrieInsurance.com to get a free quote.
Back here on our halftime show, 22-12 here on YourLiveEvent.com. We'll take a look at what happened for both of these teams, a myriad of possessions. You had everything from turnover on downs, fumbles for both teams, touchdowns, and more. Hoots, competitive game, though, coming into it. You kind of thought that this, looking at these two teams, it was truly tough to judge Larimore because of the strength of schedule that they've played. It'd be the same thing if Maple River, from a Region 1 perspective, had to go up against Sargent County, Larimore, and maybe like a Wyoming-Lidgewood, 3 consecutive games, if you will, kind of how the Polar Bears played against Four Winds, New Rockford, Cheyenne, Maddock, and North Prairie this year. But seeing how this game is going, if you're Coach Triplett for Larimore and Coach Fontaine for Maple River, there's been good, but there's been bad, and you could look up on the scoreboard, and it could be 22-12 Larimore just as easily it is 22-12 right now Maple River here, Hoots.
Absolutely, and you're talking about ball security on both ends. That is number one. Hopefully both coaches are addressing that immediately, that ball security is number one. If we hang on to the ball, if you're Maple River, you're saying if we hang on to the ball, there's no way we lose this ball game. There's no way. And if Larimore, you're saying, hey, if we don't turn the ball over those couple times, like you said, this scoreboard could be flipped right now. We just take care of the ball, and good things are going to happen here in the second half. Tackling for Maple River, been less than ideal here in this first half. Lots of missed tackles, tackling up way too high, head down, not making good contact early on, and that's led to several, broken plays 5-6 yards after the first contact, which is something that Maple River's been really good at the first couple years of this co-op. They've been solid tacklers. A lot of times the first guy that makes contact is taking them down. Larimore's doing a nice job of making guys miss.
What are some keys to your second half here? Because Coach Triplett said we want to win the first quarter. Well, they were close. It was 8-6 Maple River. I mean, we're going to get to the numbers here after the break and talk about it, but outside of a Carter Bosch big play, Larimore did a really good job nickel and diming Maple River in terms of their defense. And I'm thinking right now, if you're Coach Triplett, you're still going to run the ball and make sure it's there, but I want to see Burns roll out and give him a run-pass option because it seems like that's been a really good job with tight end availability here from a Polar Bear perspective.
I think if they focus on making sure they get one blocker solid on Silling and roll him away from him, I think they're going to like what they see. But every single time Silling's coming unblocked and he gets ahead of steam, he's going to force this young quarterback to have to make a play before he wants to. We talked about that. You want to make young quarterbacks make decisions early in the progression. And then, offensively for the Raiders here in the second half, I think it's time to let, Silling cook and just put him in that shotgun or put him under center and let him throw the ball. Every time they put the ball up in the air, I mean, positive things have happened more often than they haven't. The run game's really not there right now. And, maybe you want to continue to pound it to establish your foundation as an offense, but you got the best player on the field right there, number 9. It'd be nice to see how much he can do here in the second half.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, out-of-town scoreboard, and it's lopsided in Castleton between the Squirrels and the Broncos. We'll let you know about that next here on YourLiveEvent.com.
Honesty, loyalty, integrity. At Bank North, we've remained true to these values for generations. They shape the way we do business, work with customers, and support our communities. We've been here for more than a century, helping people grow farms and businesses, finance homes, and pursue their dreams. It's values-based banking, and it's all about working together to strengthen the common threads that bind us together. Bank North, always true.
Maple Valley Parents is a nonprofit organization whose main purpose is to promote, encourage, and support the Maple Valley students, teachers, and staff. MVP strives to strengthen and enhance the educational and social environment of the Maple Valley School District by providing opportunities for students, teachers, and parents to learn, socialize, communicate, and grow together. MVP Group welcomes anyone to join them in their mission. If you'd like to get involved or see upcoming events, check out the Maple Valley Parents Facebook page.
Before we take a look at the first half numbers in Castleton, wasn't expecting this kind of a score. Central Cass 42-0 over Lisbon in Castleton in Class A. Also in Class A tonight, Northern Cass looking to pick up a victory, up 13-6 over Hillsborough Central Valley. We also have that game for you on your live event.com. In AAA football at the half on your live event, Shanley leads by 14 over Fargo South. Dan Gunnarsson with the call for you on that one, 28-14 at the half. Deacons with the lead over the Bruins, and Bismarck leads Fargo Davies at the half, 14-3. AA football, well, Jamestown over Central by 7 with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth. Wapaton boat racing, Fargo North boat racing Wapaton 51-0. Those are some scores in Valley City, 14-0 lead over the Devils Lake Firebirds. And back to 9-man football, some updated scores for you here across the region. Just about to get to the half, Enderlin leads by 2 over Hatton Northwood. After one half of play, Weimar Lidgewood 14-6 over Hankinson. Sargent County all over Richland 42-0. That one into the third quarter, and after one half of play, New Rockford Cheyenne 15, North Prairie 14. So that's a look again at some other scores across the way. First half numbers, both teams with 1 turnover. Larimore with 5 penalties for 64 yards, 3 penalties for 25 yards on the opposite side for Maple River. Maple River right now currently with 141 yards of offense, 52 yards passing through the air, 89 rushing on 19 attempts, 141 yards of total offense. For the Polar Bears, 43 yards rushing on 17 attempts, 71 yards of passing for a total of 114 yards. T. Silling 2 of 5 for 52 yards and a touchdown. Silling also 9 carries for 10 yards. Connor Dahl 3 for 18, and Carter Bosch 7 carries, 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. Drogan has 2 receptions for 52 yards and a score. For the Larimore Polar Bears, Burns through the air 6 of 9 for a TD and 71 yards. That touchdown went to Reinhold here for the Larimore Polar Bears. And then Newell had a rushing touchdown as well. He's got 12 carries, 23 yards, and a score. Burns, 4 catches, 4 rushes for 5 yards. And then Thomas, 3 carries for 15 yards. Note, we haven't seen Thomas back on the field since he got rolled up on there late in the first half as well. First quarter, 8 points for Maple River, 14 points in the second. For Larimore, 6 points in the first and 6 points in the second. Here's your scoring breakdown. Carter Bosch opened it up with a 2-yard rushing touchdown with 7:05 left in the first, Silling to Drogan for the 2-point acrobatic conversion. Then Larimore answered with 93 seconds left in the first quarter. Newell with a 2-yard rushing touchdown. Bosch then scored on the next drive for Maple River in the second quarter. A 55-yard scamper that went to the house. Silling with a 2-point conversion made it 16-6 Raiders. Larimore scored with 2:53 left to play in the first half. Burns to Reinhold for 5 yards. 2-point conversion failed, but they were back within 4. And then on a 4th and 5, which again it might be at this point the play of the game, Silling to Drogan for a 45-yard touchdown. And Hoots, you can kind of allude to it. What does a 4th and 5 do for a team going 45 yards for a score? I get it, it was late and right before the half, but that one, to me, is really the difference maker in terms of a play of a game shifting momentum one way or another.
If you made me describe it in one word for the Polar Bears, devastating would be what I would say. It's backbreaking. I'm here right before halftime. I'm getting the look here from Coach Fontaine right now. He's talking about handoff drills they're going to be doing on Monday, so I apologize. But devastating is the word for Larimore. But something that Maple River I'm sure was looking for. Hey, let's give them a dose of our own medicine that we've had to deal with the last 2 weeks, giving up a big one before half.
And Thomas has a bag of ice on that right foot, so he looks to be done here from a Polar Bear perspective, at least for the rest of this game. We'll come back. Second half action is next from Hope. The Polar Bears will have the ball when we return on your liveevent.com.
The Maple Valley School District is moving forward with the plan to build a new pre-K classroom, community fitness center, and gymnasium with locker rooms. The classroom will provide more space for a growing pre-K program. The fitness center will provide opportunities to benefit all Maple Valley communities, and the gym will allow more opportunities for all activities of the Maple River Co-op. Plus, the plan is to build with no new taxes. Contact the business manager to see how you can help make this a reality today at 701-749-2570.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
I'm Darian Bitts. I'm confident on and off the field. And when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
I'm Doug Gray. I'm confident during the performance and when it's time for college. I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
This is Chris Brecken from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to our growers. Your trust and fellowship is the driving force behind our dedication to your successful farming operation. We continue to invest in the education of our team to ensure your customer experience is outstanding. Thank you for the opportunity to be your planter experts. Stop by either of our locations in Hillsboro or Drayton, North Dakota, or visit planterdoc.com.
Back here on yourliveevent.com as they're just putting the 3 minutes again to start the second half, kind of the warm-up, but both teams are ready to go. So now it's just a matter if they take a look across the field and both coaches give the thumbs up, we can kick this ball off. But at this point, a little opportunity for us to continue to chat, continue to talk, and get you ready for second half football here from Hope, North Dakota, and strategy very much in play and involved. Larimore gets the ball to start the second half. A score would make it a one-score contest. Who's the biggest X factor going either way here, Hoots, for you in the second half? Who's a player that needs to play well from a Raider or Polar Bear side to try to pick up a victory here later tonight in Hope?
We haven't seen a whole lot yet from Connor Dahl. Usually the downhill rushing attack has been a nice, he's kind of the thunder to Bosch's lightning. Haven't seen a whole lot of stuff from him, but, the interior defensive line has done a nice job for Larimore. So I'd say, him making some big plays on defense combined with some downhill, if they keep the clock running with 3-4 yards with him up the middle, I think would be really good for the Raiders.
Jacob Harris and Baron Burns back here for the Larimore Polar Bears. Calvin Satrom will put this one on the tee as we get ready for this second half of play. For the Maple River Raiders, they had 6 possessions in that first half. For the Larimore Polar Bears, they had 7. As Maple River will get ready, put this one on the tee to start our second half of play on our City of Hope scoreboard. Satcham at the 40-yard line in high school football. Then you got the end zones. It's an automatic touchback if it gets to that point. That is one thing in high school football. I do like that rule, Hoots, the automatic touchback. We always talk about player safety, but particularly in high school football, too.
Completely agree. And just take a peek at how we have the ball set on the tee right here to kick this one to start the second half, and he's approaching it from the opposite direction.
Might this be like a rugby kind of kick? We'll see. Satcham, that one just flutters It's like a watermelon that's spinning. And for Larimore, they'll get their way to about the 48-yard line with Reed Groton. That was like a Tim Wakefield knuckleball putting it on the tee. I'm not sure how Sadtrom did it. It went 25 yards regardless. Larimore's going to have great starting field position.
That was how, like, when I taught my 5-year-old how to kick a ball off a tee, that's how she would set it on the tee, would just put it down sideways. That's the easiest way to get it to sit there. And then he kicks it that way. And, you know, he kicked it pretty well. He's probably just looking for a wonky bounce off the ground, but unfortunately caught it in the air.
For the Polar Bears, they will come out here with their center again in Bryson Falk. You'll have your line play with Hunter Thorvaldson and Michael Myers, and then also Wyatt Stromberg here for the Polar Bears in those white uniforms here tonight with that Polar Bear paw on either side and some helmet stickers up front. Newell trying to break a tackle, makes his way to the 45, keeps the wheels turning, and he's tackled right at where they needed for first for about a gain of 10.
I think he took about 35 strides right there to get those yards. Usually take about 1 stride every 2 or 3 yards, and those legs were just churning, and he kept on making guys miss.
You hear keep the legs a turning. That's exactly what Newell was able to do.
Certainly had some quick feet. That was very impressive. But on the opposite, very poor tackling again from the Raiders. Tackling a guy that's built kind of like a bowling ball, and you're trying to tackle him around the shoulders. That's not going to work.
Lucas Reinhold also with him kind of being the up back here for Larimore and Reed Gratton in that kind of wing T formation. Shotgun, high snap. Burns has some time to throw, looking for a man, and he just gets rid of it. He was looking to come off of that wheel route a little bit there to the running back in Newell, but again, a high throw, good pressure by the Raiders. Had to get the freshman quarterback Burns to have to toss that ball quickly.
Calvin Sadtrom got back there in a hurry, and that caused that throw to be probably a good full second before he wanted to get rid of it and overthrew him by a solid 5 yards.
I'm Chase Miller alongside Nathan Hoots, and thanks again to Aiden Hanning running our camera here tonight. Make sure you stay tuned to our post-game show, our Enbridge Energy play of the contest, brought to you in part by RDK Enterprises, and as we mentioned, Enbridge Energy player of the game. That and more coming up once we get to post-game. 3rd and short for the Polar Bears. This one's on the turf, and as we mentioned, the snaps so far by Bryson Falk, they haven't been perfect, but because of a couple of these snaps, Hoots, you had a really good 9 yards, and then all of a sudden you miss on a pass, and now it's a 6-yard loss to make it 4th and about 7 here at midfield.
That's tough when you don't have that, the ability to just snap it going under center and be able to get that quick quarterback sneak to move the chains. When you got to snap it 4, 5, 6 yards deep every single play, you put yourself in conflict, and that's what's happened here a couple times.
For the Polar Bears, I would expect them to go for it here at midfield where they need the Raider again, 42-yard line. Shotgun formation for Burns. There's another high snap. Burns is going to have to go back and try to pick it up, unable to do so, and it's still loose regardless. Silling will roll on it at the 33-yard line. So it's about a turnover and 18 yards of real estate here for the Raiders.
Second fumble recovery, both of them on 4th down, so you don't want to call them irrelevant, but he's certainly got 2 turnovers here to go with his pretty impressive stat line offensively here for Mr. Silling.
Yeah, for Maple River, they will handle it now at the yards on the pitch and catch.
That is an excellent play with a lot of different options that the Raiders can mess around with. The way that Dahl was lined up, you throw it backwards, maybe he can throw a pass. You spread out Bosch, and he's one-on-one. That's something that you probably want to try to exploit here later on. In worst-case scenario, you run it once or twice in the game, and now the next week, the team that you play has got to look at that and run that to death during practice to make sure they're ready for it.
So what you had happen was a 4th down and short, 4th down and medium that goes over the quarterback's head of Burns, and then all of a sudden, one play later, you got Connor Dahl rumbling and bumbling after that Silling 18-yard fumble recovery, and just like that, Maple River is knocking on the door again as Burns just looks like he has some cramps right now, able to come off the field, and that's going to be news once they get back to offense here to see how that goes. Again, a lot of two-way players for both of these teams. Burns, part of that defensive backfield here for Coach Triplett and the Polar Bears, but it's 2nd down and short here for Maple River. Ball will be spotted at the Polar Bear 24-yard line, and you look up at that score, Hoots, a touchdown. It's still a 2-possession game unless you get the 2-point conversion, but this is kind of one of those teetering moments here from both sides.
Yeah, and Burns is kind of their best cover man too, so you might want to see if they try to exploit some type of a pass play under the outside.
We've seen this play earlier. Dahl went for 17 yards. Carter Bosch flashes. Here's the pass from Silling. Bosch makes a man miss, and gets it to the 19. He listened to you, Hoots. He got it to him for 6 yards.
Yeah, sometimes I forget I got a microphone in front of my face. It wasn't I think if Silling could have that one back, he'd probably like to hit him right in the chest, but that was quite the catch right on his shoelaces. Gave him just enough to get that first down, move the chains.
Silling 4 of 7. He's make that 4 of 7, 3 consecutive completions here for 67 yards. That's Bosch's first catch of the night. First down into the Polar Bear red zone. Shotgun formation, Twins both left and right. Dahl in the backfield here with Silling. Handoff goes to Dahl. Dahl makes a man miss, but then really good tackling. I tell you what, we've said this guy's name a ton tonight. Bryson Falk came in leading the team with 18 tackles, and we can see why. He just has a nose for the football.
I'm guessing he's probably still going to be leading the team in tackles after tonight, the way that he's plugging holes up the middle. He has neutralized the interior run game for the Raiders. But if they continue to run this formation right here, it is 4-on-3. 4 Raider receivers against 2 outside corners and 1 kind of medium deep safety. Any type of vertical routes from the inside receivers, and Burns is going to have to pick which guy to defend.
For the Raiders, Drogan will go out to the right-hand side again in that trips formation. Bosch to the left of Silling, 2nd and 10. Speed option play. This goes Bosch to the boundary. Bosch has wheels, has room, into the end zone. And for the 3rd time tonight, Carter Bosch hits pay dirt, this time from 19 yards out on the speed option, and the Raiders lead it by 16.
Absolutely beautiful adjustment right there. Rather than flaring him out into the flats and throwing to him, let's run right at the guy that's supposed to defend him and option off of him. He committed early to Silling, made the pitch, and then easy money after that.
Carter Bosch, 8 carries for 80 yards and 3 scores in the ever-important 2-point conversion to make it a 3-possession game here as we're nearing the midway point of the 3rd quarter. Shotgun formation for Silling with Bosch lining up to his left. Silling in the gun. We saw him keep it for a 2-point conversion. This time he'll roll right-hand side, has a man, Dahl wide open, and he completes it. The Maple River Raiders now lead it 30-12 after Silling hits Dahl for the 2-point.
It's Cleaner with Gleaner, Gleaner Combines from Ziegler Ag Equipment, Highway 9 North Ada. Have you been seeing the demonstrations of these Gleaner Combines? Check with Chuck O'Neill for details at Ziegler Ag Equipment. New trade-ins at Ziegler Ag Equipment, 31-foot Borgo, chisel plow with 3-bar harrow, just in S205 Melrose Bobcat, local trade, 1,580 hours. Talk with Chuck O'Neill for pricing and more information. Ziegler Ag Equipment, Highway 9 North Ada, 218-784-2961.
For the Maple River Raiders, they'll come out here. Kickoff on the way for Satchrum. A line drive kick going to be picked up here at the 40-yard line for Larimore. They get it to about the 44 after the return. It looks to be Dylan Rethemeyer there. And Maple River will see Larimore have really good starting field position. So the Polar Bears will come out here, and this kind of almost feels like a must-score drive, Hoots, from a Polar Bear perspective right now.
Yeah, the way that, unfortunately, they've been defending the last couple possessions, it might be score every possession here on out. Granted, we've had a lot of possessions in this game, but you have to answer right here. The way that the Raiders might have found something in their spread here in the last possession, you might want to score on this one. We do have a different quarterback in.
Good eye right there, Hoots, for the Polar Bears. Logan Kello, the freshman, also will be in, and, well, just like we saw a little bit, unable to do much with the ball with the snap, and that'll make it about a loss of, I'll add 5 to 1, that's 6, and now it's 2nd and 16.
It's probably not going to matter a whole lot who you have at quarterback if that snap isn't going to hit him in the chest. It's going to be, you're putting anybody in a tough situation right there.
Burns comes back onto the field. Now that last touchdown drive for the Raiders goes 33 yards and eats up a minute 56 on the clock. Shotgun formation, handoff coming. Newell able to scamper his way to the 40-yard line and get the yards back for about a gain of 7 here for Dijon. So Newell, 15 carries now for 34 yards. And for Larimore, they'll at least make it a 3rd and manageable compared to what it was at a 3rd and 16 or 3rd and 17 coming. On our City of Hope scoreboard, Maple River leads it by 18. The Polar Bears averaging 16 points per game this year, while for Maple River they are averaging 24 points per contest. Third down. It's still loose. Burns spinning his way to the outside, gets to the boundary, looking down the field, flips it. That's going to be incomplete, and Burns might be cramping up again as he's on the far sideline at the 38-yard line. And the Polar Bears also have another man down at about the 50 right now as the trainer will come out. That'll be incomplete. So Burns did a good job keeping that one away, but we will have a officials timeout. We'll break as well. 6:51 left to play in the third here on your liveevent.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in North Dakota. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the NDHSAA and the North Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
For the Polar Bears, they had not one but two. They had Burns and also Rethenmeyer kind of cramping up on the far side. So that'll make it fourth down, I believe, upcoming. Unless there was a timeout that was called prior to that. Unless you saw anything else down there, Hoots.
I see third on the chains and third on the scoreboard, so we'll go with third down.
Well,
but
I think it's, I want to say,
we
it's
got fourth
down.
Yep,
yeah, I was going to say,
here.
I believe it's fourth down after that being the play. So kind of wondering because it also looked like Maple River was having Bosch about 30 yards downfield for the return.
Considering they don't play a safety, that'd be an odd formation.
Punting for the Polar Bears, a high snap. We see if they can get on it. They can't. Satcham pushes them out of the way, and then Maple River will pounce on it at the 27-yard line.
Levi Trader getting his hands on the ball for the second time of the game. That's unique for an offensive guard to be getting the ball twice in a game.
Now, if you're a Larimore, these are costly. A fumble, and both times it's going to put the Raiders in positive territory here, Hoots. And really, right now, if you're a Raider fan, this is the knockout punch. You put it in for 6 here, you might have stretched the lead too much for the Polar Bears to come back from.
Yeah, you are going for the knockout blow here, however long it takes. They're going to go back to this formation that they've been running, and Larimore is going to have to take a timeout to adjust.
So timeout on the field, especially with some guys getting nicked up and injured. Who's all going to be in the play or not? Those are all certain questions as we will keep it here. I think it's the Captain Obvious moment, Hoots. Turnovers cost you, and if you get them, cash it in the other way. That has really been the tale of this second half, 5.5 minutes in.
Yeah, the other tale is that every time that this game is being paused, they got another Polar Bear down getting stretched out for cramps, and as soon as one guy goes down, I don't know if the depth is there for their team to continue to be able to match the Raiders, especially on the perimeter with all those skill guys going down. I think the Raiders are going to continue to try to stretch this horizontally as much as possible and stress out these Polar Bears as much as possible.
Take a look at some scores. Latest that we heard, 8 minutes left in the third quarter. Hatton Northwood up by 6 over Enderlin, 28-22. Weimar Lidgerwood leads Hankinson in the second half, 20-12. So those are some scores from across the way. We'll keep you apprised of those and more as we get those across here on your liveevent.com. First and 10, Maple River. They will handle it with Silling in the gun. Bosch is going to motion out to the outside here. Silling looking down the field. Drogan's open and could have had his second receiving touchdown. You saw it in college football. You spread guys out, you fake the quick screen, and then you try to slip someone down the field. They were looking for Bosch in terms of the eye candy, and Drogan was open there for opportunity, Hoots.
Yeah, that seam was there. I want to say Burns may have gotten away with a little bit of a hold when Drogan went by him, but a little more air underneath it probably from Silling would have resulted in something a little nicer.
Polar Bears right now need a stop, need a fumble, need something to go their way. Well, for Maple River, again, you put one in the end zone. Is that too much for Larimore to come back from here in this second half? Same formation again, trips near sideline for the Raiders. They'll send quads out there with the motion man Bosch. Now they give it to Dahl off his fingertips at the 20. Well, in terms of being there and play calls from Coach Fontaine and his staff. 2 good play calls, just unable to execute back-to-back times for the Raiders.
He's done a nice job of making adjustments based on what he's seeing from the Polar Bears. He's not looking at a wristband or a play card. He's just going up there and telling Silling what he wants out of this formation. Look for a run this direction. 70 for Larimore. Manny Gomez hasn't gotten much playing time in this game. He is the only defender on the outside edge on this opposite side of those quads.
So 3rd down upcoming for the Raiders at the half. It was 22-12. Since then, 8 points on the board and a chance to make it a little more here for Maple River on this drive. Silling, motion man again is Bosch. Clean snap, Silling, well, going to QB keep it now as Hoots alluded to the 20. Trying to pick up the first down, does, and he hammers his way as Manny comes up with the tackle, but not before it's near a first down here for Silling. And they will give him a first down, 11 yards. The tackle, again, coming on by Manny Gomez.
That was well done. They did a nice job. The tight end on this side sealed off the end, and then it was just one-on-one with the next guy in line, which is a safety at 10 to 12 yards deep.
Hoots, it's like you coached before. I'm just saying.
Well, thankfully, Fontaine and I have the same viewpoint from over here, so I'm sure he was looking at that and just, drooling, foaming at the mouth, looking at the situation that he has over here. He's got the exact same look. Maybe get Bosch in this flat, see what happens.
1st and 10, Connor Dahl kind of limping out to the boundary right now with some tape around that left knee. Motion man goes Bosch, Silling, looking for Bosch on a wheel route, instead comes back to Connor Dahl at the 5, touchdown Raiders! For the 2nd time tonight, Silling's found Pater through the air, but hold the phone. We have a flag back at the 14.
Lineman downfield over here, unfortunately, for the Raider offensive line. Great throw, though. Great play call.
That cannon shook the press box pretty good, by the way.
Well, if they keep scoring, they're going to run to their backup bullets over there. They might be a little bigger.
Ineligible man downfield, so 4 penalties now for 30 yards. Will make it another play upcoming here for the Raiders at about 1st and 15. But what does this formation do? It's not something that we see a ton of in 9-man football, Hoots, where, again, you overload one side and then Bosch kind of can wheel and deal either way. There's a variety of options to it, but what makes it so tough to go up against, so to speak?
If you have a quarterback that's not mobile, it's nothing that's too crazy worrisome. But when you also add in the running quarterback portion of this, then everything gets stressed out. I mean, right over here on my sideline, you have one guy guarding 2 with the safety over the top of the opposite side because Bosch is a field tilter and he's over on that side.
1st and 15, handoff. Dahl jukes, makes a man miss, but in on the tackle is Bryson Falk. Dahl's able to get about 2 yards, make it 2nd and long.
Just so many options that you can have. The way that Larimore is defending this, it's going to be interesting to see, how crazy he wants to get. He's still trying to give Dahl those carries up the middle to keep him happy. Well, there's a lot of guys that could get some big yards here.
And the game is starting to wind down, still over 17 minutes left. But if you're the Raiders, you don't have to be in any rush right now, up by 3 scores.
I'm not snapping the ball until that hand from that back judge is up in the air saying that we've taken 30 seconds off the clock.
2 wide receivers, both left and right. Same formation as the play prior with Dahl lining up to the right of Silling. For the Polar Bears, 5 men in the box. Silling looking down the field. We have a flag coming out. Finds a man. It's going to be caught at the 9-yard line by Jonah Thompson, but we'll see what the flag's on. Currently, Thompson able to get about a 10-yard catch, but it'll be holding in the 2nd penalty here by the Raiders on this drive.
Just giving them more space to try out their new formation that they fell in love with.
5 penalties for 40 yards for Maple River. For Larimore, 5 for 64 yards. The Polar Bears, however, a couple of fumbles. That has been the difference maker now. Not 1, not 2, but 3 turnovers in the game. Larimore fumbled, and then the Raiders took advantage of it on the last time for a touchdown. But as we alluded to, if you're a Polar Bear fan, just got to find a way to keep them out of the end zone here in this contest on this drive.
Yeah, any way you get the ball back and try to get something positive off on offense. Burns is back in the game, and we get the offense back ticking for them.
2nd and nearly a quarter mile upcoming here for the Raiders. Ball at the 29, play action. Silling has some time, winds up for Bosch at the 5, and Bosch has his 4th touchdown of the night. Give him some distance, and he's got the score. This goes 30 yards. Silling to Bosch for the touchdown.
I don't know what's more impressive, that throw or the space that Bosch created between him and his defender. I mean, he created about 8 yards of space, but that throw was about as perfect as you can see from a high school quarterback.
2 receptions for a touchdown and 36 yards. Silly now has 2 touchdowns, one that went 45 to Drogan and one that went 30 yards upcoming here to the Carter Bosch as well. So it'll be a 2-point conversion here with 4:38 left to play in the third quarter. Wishbone formation here for Maple River. Handoff goes to Dahl, makes a cutback inside, lowers the helmet, and the 2-point conversion is good. On our City of Hope scoreboard, we have a new score. Maple River 38, Larimore 12, here on your live event.
In Hope, North Dakota, we aren't just a town, we're a community, one that you can be proud of, where you and your family can grow. With available jobs, affordable housing, a golf course and pool, the Sportsman Club, and great educational opportunities. There hasn't been a better time to join the Hope community, ideally located between Fargo, Grand Forks, and Jamestown. For more information, go to www.hopend.com. Live, work, and play in Hope, North Dakota.
Dakota Heritage Bank, serving you with 10 locations across North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota, has a strong background in ag and business lending, but they can also help with auto, recreational, personal, or home loans, including home equity lines of credit. Dakota Heritage Bank is a family-owned community bank where decisions are made locally. Our friendly staff greets you with a smile, takes the time to get to know you, and can help you with your banking needs. Visit us online, dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Back here on yourliveevent.com, Maple River, they take advantage of the short field. They go 27 yards in about 2 minutes, and they score the touchdown. Actually, a little more than that because of the flags and everything. They ended up going 30 yards for the score. Silling to Bosch for the touchdown. Satcham puts the ball on the tee at the 40-yard line. A end-over end kick this time that'll roll all the way to about the 23. Harris, that's Jacob with the ball, makes a man miss, makes another miss to the 35, looking him juke to the 39, and he's taken down there. A little jitterbug play there by Harris. He was met and tackled eventually here by the Raiders.
He's got some nice moves in the open field, and coach is probably going to go, yeah, great job, but that ball is being held out about 3-4 feet away from his body. That's probably something that'll be stressed this week.
Larimore here on the drive will handle it at the 40-yard line, and quite frankly, Hoots, the story of this second half from a polar bear perspective, they've had a couple of guys cramp up, but it's been that center to quarterback exchange. That has really been the difference maker for the polar bears in the second half, unable to get that offense matriculating down the field.
Yeah, that exchange, if it's bad, can just put a halt to any momentum you have offensively, and they had quite a bit going into the half.
Burns sees this one. Newell somehow comes up with the football. Then he's hog-tied down to about the 41-yard line. Owen Tickey, the freshman, in on the tackle.
I suppose if you're going to miss your snap, I suppose missing it to the side of the running back is probably the right miss.
Is that kind of like using the backboard in basketball a little bit?
Yeah, it was accidental, but it goes in, still counts.
Second down upcoming. And 9 here for the Polar Bears. After tonight for Larimore, games with Nelson County at home, then at Midway Minto. While for the Maple River Raiders, they will have homecoming next against Griggs Dakota and then travel to Hatton Northwood. Second down and 9, handoff Newell. Newell able to break his way to about the 44 before he is dropped. Connor Dahl in on the tackle.
This kid's shown a lot of toughness here. He's got a lot of carries. As you can see, probably he is hobbling back to the huddle every single play, but they keep handing it to him, and he seems like he just kind of flips a switch and finds another gear. He's able to get him a couple yards every single time he touches it.
17 carries, 38 yards so far for Dijon Newell, the sophomore here for the Polar Bears. Third down and manageable for Larimore as they will need midfield for the first. Wing T shotgun formation again for Burns. Newell gets the handoff, tries to cut back, gets a couple of yards, brings the pile with him, do about the 49, and makes fourth down very manageable now. As
Levi Trader's a little slow to get up here.
Might have just kind of got the back of that tackle coming here with Trader, and we'll see if Coach Fontaine makes a substitution here. Frank Martin coming in the game here for Levi. And check that now, they will take Frank back. So Larry Fontaine Brings him back now 4th and 1 after Levi kind of gives him a thumbs up that he's good. Polar Bears need midfield for the first to continue the drive. 4th down and short. Burns back at his own 44. Little counter play that goes off the breadbasket, and there'll be a turnover on downs. They're trying that counter, and it went right through the hands of Reed Groton, the freshman. It'll be a turnover on downs as the Raiders will handle it now in Polar Bear territory for the 3rd time in this 3rd quarter.
I think that's the 3rd time now here in this game alone on a 4th down play that could have, extended the drive, has turned into disaster for them.
2:15 left to play in the 3rd, and now all of a sudden you look up and you say, well, if the Raiders score a touchdown here, you start talking about running time for the remainder of the game. A little bit different than Minnesota Hoots, where it's 30 in the 4th quarter. Here it's 30 at any time to start the 2nd half.
Correct.
First down, upcoming I formation. Connor Dahl dots the I. Bosch is at the fullback spot. They will give it to Dahl. Dahl to the outside here to the 45. Cuts back 40. Connor Dahl with them to about the 35-yard line. In on the tackle here for the Polar Bears is Lucas Reinhold.
I wonder what you call that formation when you put the smallest guy on the field at fullback and one of the bigger guys on the field at running back. I'm not sure what he calls that one. I'd like to know.
I would call that decoy. Maybe a
say
little
like
bit,
an inverted eye or something like that.
Because, yeah, if you're the defense, you're looking at Bosch, and sometimes you might sneak him for a fullback dive or trying to go quickly right there, Hoots, but instead he becomes the lead blocker, which normally it's the opposite. It's normally 8 blocking for 3.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, Bosch had a guy on the ground. I'm not sure if it was a pancake or what happened, but he was helping a guy up, which is always fun to be when you're doing blocking.
Well, this time the fullback goes to the fullback position. The running back goes to the running back position. Tight I formation with Bosch dotting the I. Silling, well, he's going to say to both of them, screw it, I'm trying to get out in front of you before the block comes, and he spins his way to about the 32-yard line before coming in on the tackle was Gomez.
I don't think Coach Fontaine is probably very fond of his quarterback outrunning his 2 lead blockers on that play, but, I guess it's positive yardage.
Positive yards, and you start looking at the clock, you're getting close to just having a run just this play, depending on where that play clock to game clock is right now in the 3rd. 2nd down, ball at the 32-yard line for Maple River. Wishbone, Carter Bosch with it to the 30-yard line, 25, breaks a tackle, 20. Carter Bosch, can he go? Yes, he can. He's in for his 5th touchdown of the night. Carter Bosch goes 32 yards for a house call. 9 carries for 112 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, and a 30-yard receiving touchdown for Carter Bosch. If there was fantasy football at 9-man, I'm taking Carter with my first pick.
I don't think I can argue with you on that one. We're in the amount of times that he touches it and the amount of points that he puts on the board, it certainly is entertaining.
As we're into running time now, again, as we alluded to, 30 or more points you get into that running time as the Raiders will come out here for the 2-point conversion. If you miss Carter Bosch in any space in 9-man, he's got the wheels to make it pay. Connor Dahl, he's trying to get into the end zone for the 2-point conversion and does. And that'll end the 3rd quarter of play on our City of Hope scoreboard. Maple River leads at 46-12 on YourLiveEvent.com.
R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is hiring a full-time play-by-play sports announcer and broadcast sales representative. Duties include selling advertising time for radio, digital, video streaming, and regional cable TV. Play-by-play responsibilities include live play-by-play of local sporting events for radio, video streaming, and regional cable TV broadcasts. Wage plus talent and commission pay structure with full-time benefits package offered. For more information or to apply, email apply@rjbroadcasting.com. That's apply@rjbroadcasting.com.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Start our 4th quarter play here on YourLiveEvent.com from the Maple River Raiders. They go 40, make that 53 yards in 2 minutes and 15 seconds as it's not haze, it's smoke here in Hope, North Dakota with the cannon going off.
We've seen smoke coming from up north a little more often than we'd probably like, but thankfully it's coming from cannons after Raider points tonight.
Well, Bismarck Public Schools canceled outdoor activities on Tuesday with the wildfires that they had with the, again, you don't want to go outside for too long before you start kind of feeling it, and obviously unhealthy weather. So we were talking on Tuesday, Hoots, how that would allude to a Friday night football because you don't have Friday games to make up in a football season.
There's no timeline that can fit him in.
Somehow, like a pitching wedge with a little backspin there after the kick by Satrom for Larimore, they're able to get it to about the 40-yard line, pushing their way here for the Polar Bears. And on the return is Jacob Harris to about the 40-yard line.
It's a bit unorthodox. I think Calvin Satcham was the only guy ready for that kick. Everybody else was kind of caught off guard, and he might have outkicked his coverage a little bit there. They weren't quite ready for that.
And again, I know you can't get on the golf course too many more times this year, but that one looked like it was rolling out of bounds and instead just kind of had that backspin.
Just kind of died right there, which is nice.
Well, if you're Maple River right now, it's about finishing this contest off. If you're Larimore, you like what you did in the first half. You easily could have had a chance to even take a lead, as the game went on after 2 quarters. But really, the story's been shooting themselves in the foot here a little bit in this second half for Coach Cal Triplett's squad. Shotgun formation. Burns throws it, looking. That'll be incomplete for Dylan Rethemeyer. But the tight ends again have really been there, and also I know Lucas Reinhold is kind of tabbed as a running back, Hoots, but in that wing back, he's kind of like a hybrid running back tight end role. We've seen both Rethemeyer and Reinhold, if they get the ball, it seems like the Polar Bears, that's when they're at their best here tonight.
And a good throw on that play right there, and the next play we're talking about is a 2-point conversion. He had both of the Raider defenders in his backside. Maybe he doesn't run away from Bosch if he ends up catching it, but a good throw definitely beats us there.
Thanks for all those who are tuning in tonight for high school football here, a 9-man non-region game. If this one holds the way it is with this running time, the Raiders would improve to 2-2 on the season. Larimore would drop then to 0-4 before hosting Nelson County and Larimore on a week from tonight. Burns getting flushed, rolling near sideline, throws it, has a man, got him into Raider territory, and look at Rethemeyer go, 25 to the 20, and there's going to be a Houdini kind of a play by Burns that goes for 38 yards.
He does such a good job of being able to evade tackles in the backfield while keeping his eyes downfield, and he gets his hips flipped before he makes that throw. Didn't do a great job of getting his feet set, but he at least gave himself a chance to throw that ball across his body in the middle of traffic.
110 yards make that 110 yards passing for Burns, while for Rethemeyer, 4 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown as well. Again, just a freshman. He's going to be fun to see continue to grow over the next 3 seasons. Play action, Burns looking for his tight end one more time, and Rethemeyer incomplete at the goal line.
Had him once again. That was a pretty good throw. And just think this kid was playing junior high football last year, and he's doing this on the varsity field right now. It's pretty crazy to think.
And also from a passing standpoint, what does like a wing tee or this kind of version football, what does it do? We've seen Maple River spread them out. And on the opposite side for Larimore, everything is really tight and to the ball. What's the difference here, Hoots, from a defensive point of view?
It's just it's so tough. There's such a big difference between the two. You have to be so sound. You either got to play man and go, hey, I got 44 here no matter where he goes, or you got to sit back in zone. And I don't think Coach Fontaine believes in zone.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Here's a play action. Burns again with time. Oh! The tight end was going more out. If he comes up and in a little bit here for the Polar Bears, that might have been a touchdown. Instead, it's incomplete. Intended receiver was the freshman in Reed Grattan.
Pretty good throw there, 30-plus yards in the air on a dime. It was well spun there by that young guy.
7 of 15 for 110 yards again for Burns with a touchdown as well. The Larimore Polar Bears have yet to lead tonight. They were down by 2 after 1 quarter playing, got it back within 4 late in the second quarter. But since then, it's been all Maple River scoring the next 30 points on our City of Hope scoreboard. Raiders up 46-12 as we near that 8-minute mark here in Hope. Play action. Burns into the flat, has his man. That's to about the 15-yard line. Reinhold making his way for 5 yards, and a good defensive tackle on the outside. Hoots right in front of you in the boundary by the senior Bobby Burkfield.
Yeah, that was well done. He just came in here off the bench just a bit ago, came in, make a big play right there. That was well done. I'd like to see Coach Fontaine, when he watches this film, see how they sneak that backside tight end all the way across the formation. With how much defensive pressure that the Raiders have gotten, they've been able to sneak him into the flats and get very conservative plays that, hey, you miss one tackle in 9-man football, you never know what happens.
So 4th down here, the Polar Bears need the Raider 10 for the first and then get to 1st and goal category. As they're in, again, a tight formation in that wing tee to the left-hand side. Burns, play action, has a man looking for Rethemeier in the end zone, off his fingertips. That would have been a touchdown for Dillon. Instead, it's a turnover on downs.
Mr. Burkfield there, he got beat just a little bit, and there's only one thing in high school football that you can do to make sure if you get beat, you put those hands up in the air and you make him catch the ball between your hands. Did a good job. Hey, I got beat, but at least I'm going to give myself a chance to make him deflect it.
For Maple River, this will be their 10th possession of the game. Larimore, they have had 11 on the flip side as we're nearing that 7-minute mark here. As we have a quick timeout on the field with Coach Fontaine. We'll break as well. Back to finish this contest off in Hope after this.
Triple E Incorporated in Page is cheering on the Raiders as they compete on and off the court and field. They put in the effort to build a team with trust, experience, and the ability to accomplish their goals. The team at Triple E Incorporated is built the same way, with knowledge and experience, with timeliness and efficiency. For your next non-residential building project, go online to eeeinc.com or stop by the office in Page for more information. Make your next project a winner with the team at Triple E Incorporated in Page.
Out-of-town scoreboard, 9-man football. West Hope Newburgh Glenburn defeats Surrey 50-0 for the 5th-ranked Sioux. New Salem Almont leads by 30 with 6 minutes left to play over New Napoleon Gackle Streeter. North Prairie up by 13 with 10 minutes left to play over New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock. Also some other scores filing in. Hatton Northwood 36, Enderlin 28 late in the third. And the Warbirds lead 34-20, 8 minutes left to play in Hankinson. I formation, handoff for the Raiders as they're starting to get some new guys into this contest. So we'll make it 2nd and 10 upcoming here. And for Maple River rushing the football, trying to find a number down there. Hoots through the scrum, and that is going to be Preston Dowse.
Yes, yes. I was struggling myself to make sure I found the right number out of there.
This is again for Coach Fontaine, allows some guys to maybe either one, play a new position, two, get some different faces into the contest now, as again you also have a new quarterback into the contest here for Maple River. 2nd down and 10, and what the Raiders are doing with the clock, they're going to be in no hurry to snap this football off. 2nd down upcoming. Pitch play, this will go to Dowse, trying to get to the boundary. He's at the 15 to the 20 and taken down for about a 5-yard rush.
You don't have to worry about the sideline if you go out of bounds. No big deal when the clock's running. It's probably the number one thing. Mr. Burnson there, young quarterback, came in, made sure that he got that count all the way down inside 5 and then snapped the ball. Did a nice job there. Good toss, under center, got the snap. That's the biggest check marks that you can have when you got the young guy in.
So 3rd down here for the Raiders. They just need about the 25-yard line for the first. Maple River now playing that center spot for the Raiders is Owen Tickey after playing the guard spot to start the game. Also into that contest, Frank Martin at the line here for the Raiders. For the Polar Bears here, trying to get the Raider offense off the field and create a 3rd and out. Here's a fullback trap play. That goes nowhere. Fullback trap gets stuffed right at the line here for Maple River. In on the rush is Trenton Warren, the freshman, makes it 4th down and 3 upcoming.
It's like bringing the first-team punt team back out to try to execute in special teams. Probably not something the younger guys have done a whole lot of in practice.
Maple River this second half, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Now this will have to be a punt, but they've had great field position at the Polar Bear 33, Polar Bear 27, and at their own 47. in comparison for Larimore, fumble, downs, and downs, and that is the reason why Maple River has expanded this lead in the second half. As Santrum will come out and punt back at his own 10-yard line as he has Harris back at about midfield for the Polar Bears. Dahl with the snap. They got to get this one off. It's blocked. The Polar Bears, if they dive on it in the end zone, they do. They get this touchdown. The Polar Bears with Michael Myers before Halloween gets the score in for 6.
I knew you were going to sneak that in somehow.
Well, that was
well
great.
Done.
That was spooky in its own right. You got a guy like Myers coming in with his 2 hands up. Santrum had nowhere to go, and then he barrel rolls on it for a score.
Yeah, that was impressive for you to be the guy that blocks it and recovers it. That was very well done by them.
So all of a sudden you look up, and, well, there goes running time as well here with 46-18. Michael Myers gets the block punt for a touchdown. Special teams coming into play, and something for Coach Fontaine to talk about definitely throughout the week. Always teaching moments in the game of football.
Something they're probably going to run a couple more times this week. You know, getting that punt off a little quicker, make sure there's no inside pressure.
And all of a sudden for Larimore here, they'll try to come out, and you got a new quarterback again in Kello. Fakes it to Harris, throws the ball, looking for Manny, incomplete. And we have a new score. 4:19 on our City of Hope scoreboard after the block punt by Myers. The Polar Bears got it to 28.
At Enbridge, we believe sustainability is the foundation of our success. How well we perform as a steward of our environment, a safe operator of essential energy infrastructure, a good neighbor, and a diverse employer defines our success. Learn more about Enbridge's environmental, social, and governance commitments and our Indigenous Reconciliation Plan at enbridge.com.
Let's get real. Get ready for a place that's big enough to grow and small enough to care. The University of Minnesota Crookston offers more than 35 majors, minors, and certificates. Earn a University of Minnesota degree, where you can make a difference in a close-knit community. Faculty become friends, and friends feel like family. You don't need a big city, just big dreams. The University of Minnesota Crookston. Real, hands-on, and will get you ready for anything.
Back here on YourLiveEvent.com after the Michael Myers block, punt, and then into the end zone. The Raiders will handle it here in this fourth quarter. Maple River gets the outside to about the 32-yard line, as it'll be Calvin Santrum in on the return.
Getting a couple other guys, the ability to touch the ball here in the fourth quarter is kind of cool, especially in special teams. You probably want some of your older guys out there, but give them a chance to touch the ball. A lot of smiles on the sideline.
I have a chart that has drives. 22 of them to be precise, and this is the last one that I have before I need to go to scratch paper. That's how many drives we've had here, it's both teams with now 11 drives on the night.
How many times have you gone to that scratch paper in your career?
There was one time where Tri-State played Mayport CG as we have a timeout by Coach Triplett, not enough men on the field. 70 points were scored in a third quarter in Mayville between Tri-State and Mayport CG about 6 years ago. 70 combined. That was like a tennis match on steroids, but on a football field.
If you could correct me, I want to say that might have been 2020 that year.
Yeah, it was like maybe 2019, 2020. Yep,
because
right
we played Mayville that next week, and watching that, I just turned it off and we just went and practiced instead.
Tri-State was awfully good. They had some talent that season.
Yes, they did.
Mayport CG, they had a bevy of kids that went to the Shrine Bowl this year. A lot of them were freshmen / sophomores, at that point.
Yep.
So there was a lot of talent that was displayed on the field. And again, when you have some fans that come from Minnesota and North Dakota, it is a whole wide open ball game here. And that game was the definition of a Dixie Chick song called Open Spaces. This one will be to the outside. Pitch play coming. Running into his own man. And for the Raiders, they're able to get about 5 to 6 yards. But taking the brunt of that one was Preston Downs, both on the tackle. And then he also ran into his own man, and he's going to be coming, and he's going to have to get looked at here as well. We'll take a break, hoping Preston's all right when we return here on YourLiveEvent.com.
Located on the beautiful Goose River in Hillsboro, the Goose River Golf Club offers both recreational and experienced golfers a great round. It's a 9-hole course open to the public, located right off exit 104 on I-29. The Goose River Golf Club in Hillsboro offers annual memberships for singles and families, also college memberships, first-time memberships, and outside 30-mile radius of Hillsboro membership available as well. Men's Day is Wednesday, Ladies' Day is Tuesday. You can learn more about getting on the Goose River Golf Club, GooseRiverGolfClub.com.
Hometown Community Bank serves both the Hope Page and Maple Valley School Districts. If you're interested in an egg loan, real estate, consumer, or commercial loan, Hometown Community Bank can serve you. Give Dwight a call at either branch location in Page or Fingal. Ask Janine about the competitive certificates of deposit or money market rates. Hometown Community Bank is a community bank and proud of the communities they serve, and they wish the best of luck to the Maple River Raiders for many years moving forward with the co-op. Hometown Community Bank is a member of the FDIC.
The good news here from a Maple River Raider perspective right now is the fact that Preston Dowes was able to come out of his own pressure. The bad news is going into next week, they have already had a couple of guys that have gotten nicked up through the attrition of a season here, Hoots, and Preston again being one of those that have particularly been in the starting lineup. You hope it's not bad for next week upcoming.
Yeah, they had 2 guys already down coming into this week. Can't afford, with the amount of guys they have out, to lose anyone, especially a guy that starts both ways for them.
And the Maple River Raiders will take a timeout here on our City of Hope scoreboard work and play in Hope, North Dakota. From job listings to housing options, go to hopeND.com. That again is hopeND.com. What's been the most impressive thing for you, Hoots, out of halftime? We kind of said who might be some players that need to play particularly well. It was the same story 3 weeks ago up in Enderling. Get the ball to Dosh, and everybody just kind of get out of the way from a Maple River point of view. But what have you been most impressed with here in this second half?
I think the ability of spreading it around to so many guys, a lot of guys getting touches. I know Bosch has gotten the 5 touchdowns, but so many guys have touched the ball and done positive things with it. I think that's a lot of positives moving forward for the Raiders going here into the second half of their season now.
Trenton Warren will get back to about the line here. So it'll be second down and upcoming, or third down upcoming, excuse me.
I don't see clouds above us, but we are starting to get rain down here. It's nothing terrible, but my sheet is now wet.
Well, starting to maybe sprinkle a little bit. The bugs are out on top of that.
Yeah, it's a great combination.
1-2 punch here. To take a look at that radar screen, as everyone's hoping that, again, from both sides, this game ends without having another person get a little wind knocked out of them or rolled up on. Third down upcoming for the Raiders. They need the Polar Bear 42 for the first. Handoff. This one will go. There's a first down, and that might just do it. Warren at about the 44-yard line, able to get 6 and a first down.
That should just about do it, and hopefully just take a couple knees here, drain that clock all the way down. If you get it under 2:20, that should probably do the math to get you under all the way in.
The Polar Bears in this contest, their only score in this half, again, was that punt block for a touchdown for the score to make it 46-18. Polar Bears go 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions for the Maple River Raiders. 3 touchdowns in that second. Make it third quarter play. As they will come out. 1st and 10 formation. Warren dots the I, gets the ball here to the 45 to about the 47-yard line for a gain of 4. 4 carries now for 10 yards.
Well, the last time a kid lost a shoe, they went for 55 and a touchdown, so I think I'll have to make my first call as a sideline guy here and say Warren's going for 54 and a touchdown here.
Foreshadowing for Nathan Hoots. You mentioned 2-point conversions for Larimore. Well, Maple River, they've hit on all 2-point conversions in the second half. That's such a big thing in high school football there, Hoots. You know, you get 3 touchdowns and you get 3 2-point conversions. Really, that's 4 touchdowns then.
That's really important moving forward for you to be able to cash in on those 2-point conversions in 9-man football. That could be the difference in the game.
Fullback trap for Bergfield goes for 3 yards here for the Raiders. As Bergfield will get his first carry of the contest. And one more play, that'll do it, whether it's a QB knee run. That'll finish the game off here for the Maple River Raiders as they will improve to 2-2 on the season with a home game upcoming. Again, next week we'll have it for you on yourliveevent.com. Homecoming against Griggs Dakota. The Polar Bears drop to 0-4. They will host Nelson County a week from tonight in Larimore. Third down upcoming. Quarterback knee here for the Raiders. And that goes about 2 hours and 18 minutes here on yourliveevent.com. The Maple River Raiders pick up the win. We're back with our post-game show after this here on yourliveevent.com.
Hope Page Public Schools are committed to the development of all students by providing a high-quality education that is reflective of the strong values in our communities. The staff at Hope Page Public Schools work each day to enable and inspire students to achieve academic excellence and make positive contributions to our world. Learn more about Hope Page Public Schools by visiting hopepage.k12.nd.us. We are Hope Page, and we will change the world.
Farmers, are you expanding, upgrading, or want to automate? Visit with the experienced staff at Hope Electric to learn about the latest electrical systems and the newest technologies that they have developed to make your operation more efficient. Get a custom system in place with features like iPad truck loading and remote view grain storage, touchscreen controls, hazard monitoring systems, and wireless cellular cameras to protect your assets. Hope Electric, serving the agricultural and commercial industry since 1978. Visit hopeelectric.com or call 701-945-2460.
As we come back here on yourliveevent.com, again, your final 46-18. Let's recap the second half action here. Carter Bosch, a 19-yard rushing touchdown. The two-point conversion, Silling to Dahl made it 30-12. Then Silling to Bosch for a 30-yard touchdown connection. And the two-point conversion by Dahl made it 38-12. And then Bosch with a 32-yard rushing touchdown made it 46-12 with a Dahl two-point conversion, and a Michael Myers block punt for the score made it 46-18. It's now time to get to our Enbridge Energy Player of the Game. EnbridgeEnergy.com for career opportunities. Life takes energy. Enbridge, energy for life. Again, go to Enbridge.com for career opportunities. Hoots, the captain obvious moment would be obviously go with the man that scored 4 rushing touchdowns and also had a receiving touchdown with Bosch for 5 scores. Obviously, you can put his name in the hat, but let's go who's a 1A, so to speak, as well. Who did something tonight to also allow Maple River to come out with this victory here for Enbridge Energy Players of the Game?
That's T. Silling. He made one poor throw early on, and after that, every single one that he made, whether they were called back for a penalty or not, he did a great job hitting guys on the run, sitting in the pocket. Didn't have a ton of time to throw tonight, but was throwing tons of guys wide open. And sometimes, guys don't create a whole lot of space on their own. You got to create your own space with the throw, and he threw guys open late in the game, which was fun to watch that second half.
Now let's get to our RDK Enterprises feature precision play of the contest. Contact the folks at RDK Enterprises at planterdoc.com for precision planting updates and information with locations in Hillsborough and Drayton. Contact RDK Enterprises. For me, Hoots, that 4th down and 5, Silling to Drogan. If you don't get it at the time you give Larimore the ball nearly at midfield, instead you get the touchdown with 56 seconds left to play in the first half. It was 16-12. Instead, it's now 22-12. That was a big difference, I think, in the game, especially leading to the momentum into half for Maple River.
That's the biggest thing. It's the momentum that you carry into the half when you score like that. Guys are excited. They're jumping around. Then, you're taking a knee in the end zone with a big smile on your face, knowing that you finished the half the way the coaches want you to. So it's just, momentum, they say, is only as good as your next play, but it is fun to have it when you go into half.
Without question. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the final numbers in this one. Also, we'll hear from a player or two from a Maple River point of view, go over some scores and more. That's all coming up here on yourliveevent.com.
Mother Nature can strike at any time, and Irie Insurance is here to help. Experience the difference with Irie. Get the insurance protection you want with the customer service you deserve.
Home insurance, auto insurance, crop insurance, commercial insurance, benefits insurance.
We have you covered from head to toe, underground to sky. Go to IrieInsurance.com to get a free quote.
Honesty, loyalty, integrity. At Bank North, we've remained true to these values for generations. They shape the way we do business, work with customers, and support our communities. We've been here for more than a century, helping people grow farms and businesses, finance homes, and pursue their dreams. It's values-based banking, and it's all about working together to strengthen the common threads that bind us together. Bank North, always true.
Maple Valley Parents is a nonprofit organization whose main purpose is to promote, encourage, and support the Maple Valley students, teachers, and staff. MVP strives to strengthen and enhance the educational and social environment of the Maple Valley School District by providing opportunities for students, teachers, and parents to learn, socialize, communicate, and grow together. MVP Group welcomes anyone to join them in their mission. If you'd like to get involved or see upcoming events, check out the Maple Valley Parents Facebook page.
Back on our post-game show, and as always, join us here on YourLiveEvent.com after a win. We like to talk with the winning coach, and this time it's Larry Fontaine with our own Nathan Hoots. Take it away, Hoots.
Yeah, here with Coach Fontaine after a 46-18 win over Larimore. A lot of things went well for you there in that second half. What positives can you take from that second half going into next week?
The kids played really well the second half. We have to shore up a lot of things. I mean, the positive thing is we won. We moved the ball. We were in better shape than them, I believe. Kids all played them the second half. We were only up by 10. We opened up in the spread because their mission was to stop Carter Bosch on the outside. So we let T take over the game and let him pass the ball. And we moved the ball at will, with T throwing the ball. We have a lot of weapons. Our offensive line played really well in the second half. We moved the ball at will. We got, some penalties we got to take care of and some other things. But, we're looking forward to next week already with Griggs. But you got to give their hats off to Larimore. They played hard kids. They just, ran out of some energy, I guess. But they played hard.
So that second half, you ran that formation, trips to one side, and you had Bosch in the backfield. You're motioning them either way. What did you see from that formation in the second half that led to you kind of sticking with that for a couple possessions in a row?
The left side of the opposite side of where trips was wide open. So that's why we called that play. And then Coach Belke called pass to Stevie Drogan, and then Carter comes in and he goes, "Coach, I'm wide open. I'm going to run a corner." All right. Okay, run a corner, buddy. So, the kids are out there. They see more than us, and they tell me, and hey, it'll work. Let's run it. So it was fun.
Nine-man football, a lot of times in close games, it comes down to getting those two-point conversions. You guys were 5 for 6 tonight. Just talk about how important that is or how happy that makes you feel when you can walk away knowing you got 5 of 6 going into the game.
Yeah, that was, we've struggled on that. Even last year we've struggled, so we're trying to get a little better at that. And we're happy with what we did. We got a lot of athletes and a lot of talented kids, and if we can spread them out and get the ball, to 4 or 5 kids, we can do some good things.
And moving quickly to next week, Griggs, the first thing that comes to your mind is probably how big they are. Last year they were physically dominant. You guys wore them down as the game went on. What's your idea? What are you thinking about doing going into next week with how big they are?
Well, we're gonna work hard this week, get in shape, because we are in really good shape. And if we only have like 12 kids that are playing, starting, and we're just gonna work hard and get in shape and run, and then spread them, go the spread, see if they can keep up with our speed, and go from there.
The coach's favorite week of homecoming. What do you tell the guys every single day they come to practice when they're coming to to school wearing their pajamas, and the next day they're wearing a tuxedo, and then the next day they're wearing Hawaiian clothes? What do you tell them as the week goes on when it's homecoming going into a big game?
Focus, focus, focus. That's it.
Focus. Love it. All right. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week here in Hope.
Coach, I appreciate it. You're a good man.
Thank you very much, Nathan Hoots, with Larry Fontaine right there. We'll see if Nathan Hoots can track down as well T. Silling in a moment here on YourLiveEvent.com. This will allow us to take a look at some of the numbers here this evening here for the Maple River Raiders. 290 yards of total offense, 193 yards on the ground, 97 yards through the air. For the Larimore Polar Bears, 176 yards of total offense, 115 yards passing, and 61 yards on the ground here for the Larimore Polar Bears. The guy that got in the end zone a couple times passing, T. Silling, 97 yards for 2 touchdowns. Also had 11 rushes for 24 yards. He's standing by with our own Nathan Hoots on the sideline again here with Mr. Silling. Take it away, Hoots.
Several big plays from you tonight, including 2 fumble recoveries. All right, everybody wants to talk about you as a quarterback. Talk to me a little bit about what you like to do defensively.
I just love to play D end. I like going after other quarterbacks.
Okay, I guess as a quarterback you probably are saying that as well. All right, second half you got to go spread. So you're probably you're wiping drool from your face. You're so excited. Every play you're looking out there and you're seeing, not many bodies, a lot of space. Talk to me about it. What you feel, what you see when coach is calling any play out of the spread.
Yeah, when we go spread, we have a lot of weapons on the outside. They're able to get open. I'm able to hit them.
Okay. Last year you were more east and west. You love to go sideline to sideline, didn't invite a whole lot of contact. This year, mentality-wise, what has changed? It seems everything, you're going downhill, you're finishing with contact all the time. What has changed since last year to now?
I'm just more confident in my blockers. I'm more confident in myself, and really been in the weight room a lot this summer.
All right, now, Coach clearly lied to me. I asked him after your two-point conversion in the first quarter, was that a designed play, or was that backyard football, found Steve in the back of the end zone, you made a good throw, he made a great catch?
Do you want me to lie?
What would your coach want you to say?
That was a broken play.
All right, hey, that was a great play. Congratulations. Griggs next week. Stay focused all week with homecoming. Any distractions, put them away, and just go one day at a time. Good luck next week. Here we go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Back up to you, Chase.
Thank you very much, Nathan Hoots. We'll continue on our post-game show right now with some final scores matriculating themselves on the way in. A minute left to play. North Prairie 28, New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock 22. Rockets with the ball. Also, some games that are coming in final. Larimore Litchfield over Griggs Dakota 37-6. Hatton Northwood 44-28 over Enderlin with 2 minutes left to play. Waimea Lidgerwood up 40-20 over Hankinson. 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter. And Sargent County 50, Richland 14 in 9-man football. Last thing, Hoots, before we bid adieu, what's the one thing you're going to take from this game? 2-2. There's winnable games again for the Raiders. They know their backs to the wall. They got to take care of business moving forward and make those Lobos and Bulldog games at the end of the season matter for postseason play. But what are you looking to take away moving forward?
That it doesn't have to be the Carter Bosch show, the T. Silling show, if they want to succeed. They found some other things other than the wishbone that work well for them tonight. I think it's something that they come out with those trips and Bosch in the backfield, motioning them all over the place. Now you have options. You got to, maybe you can catch the defense off guard once or twice a game running that formation. They have options now. They have so many athletes. It's going to be fun to see what they do moving forward.
Hey, Hoots, thanks so much for your time. We'll see you a week from tonight for homecoming night.
You're the man, Chase.
That again, the Maple River Raiders improved to 2-2 on the season. The Polar Bears dropped to 0-2. Thanks to Larry Fontaine and Cal Triplett for joining us in the pregame show, and alongside with T. Silling, join us with Coach Fontaine in the postgame show. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night, and make sure you go to your live event for more games throughout next week here across the state of North Dakota and Minnesota. On behalf of Nathan Hoots, I'm Chase Miller, and thanks to our cameraman here tonight and Aiden Hennig as well for joining us on the broadcast. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.